Everyone, it's Santana, and you are watching the DL Show on Dave's Guitar Channel.
All right, welcome everybody. Krelba, welcome. We're missing Joe, but Joe is, as we probably are well aware, I'm sure he's putting Mikey to sleep. Hey, Johnny Kramer, what's going on? Tim Thomas. Today we have a great guest. We have Alex Guaraldi with us here, who'll be here in a few minutes, and we are going to be talking about his pedal company called Coppersound Pedals. Krelbar, I haven't seen you for a while. I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks. What'd you do this week? Anything?
Yeah, well, a little cleaning up around the house, and yeah, I watched binge watch a little of Car 52.
You mean Car 54?
Car 54. I'm sorry.
Great show. Great show. By the way, here's Joe. Joe, we figured you were getting Mikey to bed. What's going on, my friend?
I was brewing a sweet-ass cup of coffee, about to take my first sip. Mikey did get to bed.
Excellent.
Had to move around some furniture.
How's the aroma of said coffee?
It is. Even through my stuffed nose, holy crap, it smelled good.
Right?
Oh, I'm going to need a case of that.
It's good, isn't it?
It is really good. That is fucking great.
Yeah, Johnny, that's actually a strat.
We are live, sir.
Hey,
yes.
everybody. Good evening. Sorry, I was making coffee and putting Michael to bed.
All righty. And the coffee that Joe is drinking is a coffee that's from Pawtucket, Rhode Island, called Down East Roasters. Damn, excellent really? Cup of coffee, and he's drinking the morning blend.
Well, technically, the way I sleep, this is my morning.
Right.
I got my ass out of bed at 4:55 p.m. So yeah, I'm off tomorrow. So that's why I got out of bed late. But it's a real damn good.
I know. I told you, it's unbelievable. It's really good. In fact, guys, let's just jump right in. Let me get Alex into the conversation. He's here, and then we can get everyone going, and we can talk coffee because Alex is also a local to this area. Let me bring Alex on now. Alex, welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Alex, are you familiar with the coffee called Down East Roasters? They're out of Pawtucket.
I actually am familiar. I'm not a super big coffee guy, but I have heard of it in passing, so they must be doing something right.
Yeah, they're good. Really good.
The
morning blend.
When I think of like a Rhode Island treat, it's Autocrat, the coffee milk company.
Yeah. Right. Coffee milk, yeah.
Where are you located in Rhode Island?
Well, so I'm close to Rhode Island because I live down in Freetown. Our shop is out of Easton, though, which is just a couple towns over from Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when a couple of weeks ago when we went to the spa, taking the back roads, we drove right through Easton. But have you ever been to a place called Jimmy's Broad Street Diner in Weymouth?
No, I've been on Broad Street a good amount because I think that's where the milk bottle is.
Okay.
Place with the huge milk bottle.
I don't even know it. No, I just know because of that coffee.
We have one of those down here too. They said they were going to reopen it for the longest time, but they never did.
So gentlemen, Alex owns a company called Coppersound Pedals. Now, the first time I think the first pedal you came out with, and correct me if I'm wrong, at least it's the one that I knew of, was like the Telegraph pedal.
Yeah, that was definitely the first thing that kind of put us out there. That was around 2016. We made our first appearance with that at the Summer NAMM show down in Nashville in 2016. Seems like forever ago now. We had a tiny little booth, only a couple guys. I think we had a 6x8 booth. It was our first time presenting. And yeah, we had that Telegraph pedal, which for the listener is a small, normal sized, Keeley sized pedal. And it's got an old Morse code telegraph key on the top of it as the actuator.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely the thing that people see us first for. That was kind of, I would refer to it for like we had discontinued about a year ago. For the 5 years it was out, I kind of called it our business card. It was kind of the thing that people saw first. They knew us like, oh, I saw you guys. You got that telegraph thing.
Yeah. Now let me ask you this question, because I saw in a video recently this guy had a stepmom. Oh no, wrong video. It was a video where thank you. It was a video where there was the 3-1, and you could assign, did you want the thing to cut, or did you want it to allow the signal to flow? So does the first one have that too, or was that later just for the 3-piece?
When you talk about the 3-piece, you're talking about the one that we did with Third Man? Is that the one you're talking about?
I saw the captain show it.
Okay, yeah. So I'm trying to remember. I know that he had done some stuff with the Telegraph. I know he did the big triple graph release, the one that we did with Third Man. I know he had done that one. We did on our first model. It wasn't out right away. We had somebody ask us about like having a reverse switch on it, because it's just a basic kill switch. And somebody said, hey, it'd be cool if this thing cut my signal until I pressed down on it. So we ended up coming out with an activation toggle, if you will, is what we called it, kill versus activate. So yeah, we had that small little box, and all it was a telegraph key, a little toggle switch if you wanted to kill it or activate it. And we made like 2,500 of those out of this little garage here that you see. Over the course of about 5 years.
That's crazy. It's pretty great though, actually.
Yeah, well, that's why I said considering it was kind of a business card, people.
It's also like the pedal. I would call that to people. That's like the pedal you didn't know you needed.
Yeah,
until you see it, then you're like, "Ooh, I need that. What are you going to use it for? I'll figure it out."
It doesn't matter. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. I'll make it a reason for it.
Yeah, it kind of had one of those appeals at the shows. We get a lot of like, I don't know what that does, I need it type of thing, you know. And I mean, by the end of it, like I said, we were making thousands of them here in the shop with just a few guys, and the price was under $80 for them, and you could choose the color you wanted and everything. So we were these are flying off the shelves up until the last couple months when we were discontinuing them.
Wow. And will you bring them back to do like limited runs of them down the road, or something you think about?
So for the Telegraph Starter, during its time, it had a set of colors. If dealers hit us up and wanted a color, we'd say yeah, because it was something that we powder coat in-house, so we could fulfill that demand. We'd have regular colors that people really liked and gravitated towards, but we also did runs of limited stuff. That's the nice thing about being able to do that stuff is I might have a batch be like, I really want to do some shell pink. Let's do some shell pink, throw it up on the site, and people would get it as like small. We call it small batch and one-off, and we have a spot on our site for it. But we are planning actually a version 2 of this pedal at some point this year, which we're excited about as well, to kind of bring it back. We wanted the goal for us when discontinuing it was obviously it would lead way to the Jack White pedal, so that they weren't out together. And the second thing was, we wanted to leave it with enough breathing room, if that makes sense. Like we didn't want to have a V1 out on the market with dealers having hundreds of them, and then all of a sudden, hey, here's V2, and no one wants a V1, and we're stuck on this product. We kind of wanted to like have the curtain close, give it some time. We'll do the triple graph, we'll do our other stuff, and then at some point when it makes sense, we'll come back.
Nice. Now, if you call that pedal your calling card, would you call the Foxcatcher your flagship?
Yeah, I would. I think that'd be a good assessment, because we really push our duet series, which is our 2-in-1 pedals, 2 foot switches, all the bells and whistles. The Foxcatcher became our flagship, and I guess perfectly enough, it actually encompasses our actual branded font on it and our color. We use this like burnt orange copper color, and we use a certain font for our stuff, and that one just happens to embody it. And people have really gravitated towards that since it's been out. It's kind of been the one, if you didn't know the Telegraph or the Triple Graph, people most likely will have seen the Foxcatcher. You know, people love a good 2-in-1 overdrive.
Sure. All right. Gentlemen, you want to pump in anything, or you're...
I have a question.
All right.
You always have a question, Joe.
I know, because you know, he's right, because all I did was type in Telegraph Pedal, and they come up right at the top, and I see exactly what it is. That's a cool design. That is a very cool design.
Yeah, the nice looking pedals.
It is. Now, everything you were saying about the dual pedals. Now, I'm new, not new, but I'm recently coming back to pedals. I'm looking at this Captain Hook. It's an octave and fuzz. Does it have to be both, or do you, like, let's say I just want the octave? Are you able to go one way or the other and then mix them together?
So that's a good question. On some models of that, you can, not on our model. A lot of times you will see octave fuzz traditionally. You know, think of Hendrix, who played octave fuzz. There's a lot of modern bands that do that. Octave fuzz, generally, you kind of want fuzz before it because of the nature of it. You want like a really hard square wave form for it to really get the octaves to shine. So on our model that we did, the Captain Hook that you're referring to, we did a run of 70 of them a couple years ago, and it would come as they would, and dealers would pick up a few orders and stuff like that. That one doesn't have an independent octave or fuzz like you were asking. It's essentially octave fuzz or not, and it has an independent boost with it. It was something we wanted to do for a Black Friday thing, limited. Sometimes we really get into the vibe of doing it. Other times we don't like to, I don't know if succumb is the right word, but we don't want to, like, hey, it's Black Friday, let's do something to do something. That's never really been like, you know, a prerogative of ours of, oh, hey, this day is coming and everybody's going to sell stuff, and then it's going to be a fight there. And I think if it naturally falls, we'll do it. But if it doesn't, we don't. And that year we happened to do a limited edition, and it was the Captain Hook, which was actually inspired by an artist of ours in France called Zachary Hook. He had this artwork, and our design guy Jordan just ran with it and ended up being the Captain Hook. And we thought, hey, it'd be cool to do a limited run, and that's kind of where that landed.
Awesome. Snowball in the chat says he has the triple Lindy graph. I believe that is the Thornton Mellon signature pedal.
The triple Lindy.
Who does that? Can your son do that time? No one can.
Yeah, where does the name Coppersound come from?
That's a good question, actually. You know, very rarely do people ask it. So when I was working on stuff back in the day, when I was working at Guitar Center up in Braintree, that's where all of us met. I was trying to figure out a name to use for this. You guys can probably pull up a picture of like one of our pedals and have the logo. You'll see like a logo that's got like the C letter with a diode going through it and a circle around it. You'll probably see that on one of the pedals. It's actually, I'll go back to that once. First I'll answer the question, then I'll go back to where the logo stands. So the name came from, it was actually inspired by, this was before we even started working with Jack White, but it was inspired by the project he did with the raconteurs with their use of copper. So I became like a fanatic of Jack's and all of his work. And whenever he was playing in the raconteurs, which any listeners, you probably would know best by Steady As She Goes, the tune. So definitely. I became fascinated with Jack's work, especially in there, and his use of copper, because throughout his history, you probably know the White Stripes they'd only perform and be seen in red, white, and black, right? So he carried on that type of thing with the raconteurs and the use of copper, and I just thought it was such a cool thing. So I found a font that was actually based on a poster I have that came out for the raconteurs. It was called Coventry Gardens. It's kind of got a Great Gatsby vibe to it, that font. And I just used the word Coppersound, and I kind of put the two together. You guys are probably familiar with Earthquaker. They kind of do that same thing, Earthquaker devices. Yeah, so the Q is capitalized. So we do that on Coppersound. We keep the S capitalized, so it's kind of legible when it comes to like hashtags and stuff like that. But the name essentially came from there, and it worked the fact that circuit boards are made out of copper, and your sound is going through it. So it's a little bit on the ball, tongue-in-cheek there, but it essentially derives from my passion, like appreciation for the use of copper that Jack did. And then when I was designing the logo, you'll see again, it's a circle and it has the letter C and it has a diode going through it. If you turn that 180 degrees clockwise, that's actually the degausser symbol. You guys probably remember on old tube computers, you'd have to degauss, you'd have to rotate, you'd have to like click a wheel, and it would essentially discharge all the magnetic buildup in a computer or a TV. So I use that old degausser logo, which you almost can't even find. If you Google right now degausser logo, I think it's DEGAS.
But the logo is just 180 degrees. You said if you did it clockwise. I think counterclockwise, you'd still end at the same place.
Sorry, yeah, 90 degrees. Yeah.
So 180. You were right with 180, but it doesn't matter which way you turn it.
Yeah. So the degausser symbol kind of looks like a lowercase n or like an upside down U with a line strike through it.
Oh no, so you're right. It was 90 degrees.
Yeah. So I turned that on its side. I'm like, you know what? No one's using, like, you're not gonna have a degausser thing in your computer anymore. We don't really use them anymore because it's not tube and stuff. And I thought that was a really cool logo. I turned it on its side and it just had the C for Coppersound. And then instead of a line through it, like a strike through, I just did a diode.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I mean, I had the little logo on the poster for the show under your name with your name, because I thought it would be people would see it and know the association.
Right. Yeah. And we've tried to, use that on all the branding. It's been cleaned up and vectored and all that stuff by Jordan, the person that does all of that stuff here. But yeah, that's essentially where the name came from and how the logo derived. I wrote it on a whiteboard. I used to build every pedal on like a little poker-sized table. Right. And I just had it on a whiteboard and I wrote it down. I just kind of left it there and it just kind of marinated and just went with it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. There was another video. We were talking about it earlier. This girl was stuck in a dryer. No, not that video. This one.
No. Well, listen, let me say something. The first minute he popped up, all I can think of was there's a lot of places for someone to get stuck in that little workshop over there.
This has gone right down the tubes.
I'm telling you right now, if Corey Chase walks into your workshop,
she'll get out. No, she'll get the big shop vac is right there for her to get her arm stuck on. Anyways, the captain did a whole. Everyone in the chat here knows who the captain is, and Andertons. They're out of Guildford, England.
Yeah. Yes.
Which, if you guys, anyone who knows anything about England knows exactly where Guildford is. It's
Lee Anderton, the captain.
There, kind of. We have no idea where it is. However, we know it's in England. And these guys did a show. It was Danish Pete and the captain, which what's the captain's name?
Lee Anderton.
Lee, thank you. Yeah. And Lee, and I thought they did a great job. They went through each one of your pedals. They seemed to enjoy them. And how did that come about for you to? I'm sure to land a deal with those guys was great. And
yeah, we had been working to try to hook up with them for a while. Our first foray into working with either of them was actually through Danish Pete. We had reached out because we were kind of getting the ducks in a row for the Triple Graph, which had come out September of 2021, September of 2020. And we had reached out to Danish Pete and we were like, hey, we're big fans of your stuff. And we've got this cool pedal coming out. We can't really, you can't release it. There's an embargo on it, but we have a ton of people lined up. We had some big hitters like Pete Thorne. We had Danish Pete, and we had several others. We were going to essentially, plus we also had a commercial that Jack White and some of his band members made. So getting ready for the release of the Triple Graph, we had sent Danish Pete one, and I think he was the first video I saw, and he just has this infectious quality about him. He's so into the item. He's having such a good time. He's like a kid in a candy store in his videos. and he was so happy with it. We had sent him a couple other pedals, especially Polaris, because we all know that he loves purple. And so we hooked up with him through that for the triple graph, and then we had been working in the backgrounds about essentially getting into Andertons, and they had picked us up. And upon doing so, we essentially, I'm pretty sure it was just like a formal, like, hey, would you guys be interested in doing a spotlight for the brand? Because we had a lot of pedals that were, as you mentioned, the Captain Hook and the Foxcatcher. We had a lot of pedals that were 2-in-1, two foot switches stuffed into one box. And they essentially did like a whole 2-in-1 shootout with all the products that they had. And that was just really cool to have a spotlight from Lee and Pete just running through the whole thing. And it kind of helped broaden our visibility over in the UK as well, which is another really great thing.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is also what I notice is people in England, they have no idea of the small boutique pedals.
Mm-hmm.
There are small boutique British pedals that I have one, and you can't even find anything about, like, nobody would know anything about it. And then someone's like, "Oh, that's a damn knockoff." Well, who the hell made? It's another. Oh, that's like another obsolete. Like, people don't know. So it's great because they have such a great following for you guys. Anyways,
Yeah.
I think it's great. It's local boys do good. That's how I look at it. It's like, you guys get out there and do it. Now, I didn't realize that you were so into Jack Black. Jack Black, Jack White. Which Jack is it?
One of them. You can just say gray and it'll cover both.
Yes. Well, I like Jack Black.
Yeah.
I think he's funny.
Yeah.
What's it?
They're both great. Actually, Jack Black recorded a song with Tenacious D that Jack White produced at Third Man.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
My favorite Jack Black is when he's in the van going, "Keeping your head above water, making the ways that you can. Temporary layoff, good time." I got to tell you, this is just a complete non sequitur. Before the show today, I had to do stuff before I had to reboot my computer. And in my mind, all I can hear the song playing is, "It's time to get things started. It's time to, it's time to." I mean, when the last time I watched the Muppet Show? But for some reason, that song was in my head. And I can imagine Skeeter running by me, and just a non sequitur piece there, folks.
I have that all the time when I get in the car and I start singing a song that I don't listen to, and I go, it must have been on in the gas station or something, like heard it subconsciously. And I'm like, why am I singing this song?
Yeah, that's why you're singing Toxic.
Well, I mean,
it's
a jam.
It was Silent Lucidity from Queensryche was in my head all the time for like 2 months.
But that's at least the song. We're doing Muppets here. Dave's got the Muppets stuck in his head. I've got one so obscure, maybe Dave would know it. You remember the song, The New Zoo Review?
Of course. In fact, the guy who wrote the theme.
It's in my head now. Thank you.
The guy who wrote and did the music for this show was Del Casher, who created the wah pedal.
Shit. No way.
On the New Zoo Review, yeah. Henrietta Hippo, Freddie the Frog.
Woodsy
and
the
Doug.
Owl. Right? The fucking owl.
Yeah. The owl. I can't remember the owl because when I was a kid, all I could think of is Woodsy.
What is it? His name?
Woodsy the owl. Yeah.
No, Woodsy Owl was like some PSA owl. Yeah, the polluting owl. I didn't know if it was out of the Bears.
1, a 2, a 3.
No, that's a different.
That's Mr. Owl. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
How many licks does it take to get to the center of Corey Chase? I don't know. I'm stuck.
He's really on Corey Chase this week, folks. Anyways, so when did you started the pedal? Let me just see. So you started this 2016, 2015? Which was it?
Yeah, it was right. It was about 2014, 2015 is when I started doing it. Like I said, when I was working at Guitar Center.
And what was and you were the guy that worked on? Let me ask you this question: were you the guy there that was repairing pedals for people?
So I opened that store at the Braintree one, and then I started actually as a sales associate. And then the last
but were you doing it out of your garage then? Because Jerry, at one point, I had a pedal that needed work on. He was like, "I work with a guy that can fix that pedal."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was probably doing that stuff before I even transitioned to guitar tech for the store. But I was doing pedals on the side because I had met Jerry. So I started that store in 2012. I think I met Jerry 2014 or so.
Yeah.
It was around that time him and I were swapping stories. He was building guitars and stuff, doing
Did you get
finishes
to
and
meet any of
dab.
the corporate GC guys?
Only my district manager at the time.
I was friendly with the guy that did all the drums, the national drum guy. The guy who worked out of Agora Hills there.
Mhm.
Glenn Noyes.
Yeah, I'd only met my district manager. I was there for about 3 years. I went
All
over
right.
to Guitar Tech, did Guitar Tech for about a year or so before I
Yeah.
left.
How'd you like that?
Leaving? Or
Exactly.
Guitar Tech?
No, I know that gig over there. The people, I mean, if I'm even in this, because I go in that guitar center very infrequently. I sometimes just pop in to see what used pedals they people basically gave away to the store and how low I can get it for. And it's over right by the repair guy. And you hear questions being asked to the repair guy. And I'm just like, oh my God, if I only had rope. If I only, it can be, the questions can be crazy. I actually knew a guy. This is a true story. This is not a guitar center. This is another friend of mine who's a tech. A guy came in and asked if he could put a skunk stripe on his bass. He's like, what do you mean put a skunk stripe on your bass? He goes, well, can you paint it on? He's like, this is a 2-piece neck. Like the fingerboard is on top of it, so the truss rod went in under the fingerboard. You didn't need to put a skunk stripe in. Why do you want one?
This is like painting F-holes on it.
It's but on the back of the guitar.
Stripe, I know that's the term for the thing on the back and neck, but immediately when you said skunk stripe, I thought you were talking about the body of the guitar, to paint the body of guitar with like
no, just the back. He wants the skunk stripe, the walnut stripe that's usually there because you have to remove the wood to put the truss rod in.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted it just painted on.
That's awesome. I was
so
also,
my buddy who's the tech is like, I just want to scream.
I like the look of a neck without one, to tell you the truth.
That's your cue to go on break.
Right, exactly.
I think I'm taking a long lunch. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
I'll be absent that day. Yeah, no, just absolutely crazy. Real quickly on the coffee check. How good is that coffee, sir?
That's unbelievable.
It really is a good. Now, I'm not a big coffee drinker. I have to tell you, I'm not a huge coffee drinker. I went to this diner and the place just had the aroma of coffee. I'm like, you know what? Let me get a cup of coffee. I got a cup of coffee. I'm like, best cup of coffee I had here.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how they do it. It's like the Braintree Mall pumping in that popcorn butter smell.
Oh, isn't that the best?
They've been all malls have been doing that for years at the movie theaters.
The popcorn butter.
Well, what's the name of that coffee company?
Down East Roasters.
Down East Roasters.
So yeah. So anyway, 2014, 15, you leave. You're setting to do this. So you said the Telegraph was your takeoff pedal. So I'm assuming that wasn't your first bid.
Yeah. So that kind of, looking back at it to go through like our records and stuff, the Telegraph was in 2016, like I mentioned, the summer NAMM show. Have any of you gents been to the NAMM show at all?
No, never.
Oh, I've been to.
I had an opportunity once.
I lived in Los Angeles 20 years. I was at every NAMM, and then I was at Summer NAMM the year before they went to. They were in Indianapolis. I went to the Indianapolis Summer NAMM show.
Yeah, that one used to
that was the
move
only
around.
summer show. What's that?
The summer show used to move around place to place before it found its home in Nashville, which I guess makes sense.
Nashville was the year later, and it never moved after that.
Yeah. So like I said, the Telegraph was 2016. It was like the only thing we had really. We did have, so that year, 2016, we had, I think, technically 3 pedals come out. So we had the Telegraph, we had our dual reverb plate style called Daedalus, and we had our miniature op amp based booster called the Gravity Bomb. So we had those. The Telegraph was always was the head, like the star of the show.
Sure.
To the point where at that show, I think they asked. I think it might have been right after the show. I remember I was working at my next job after Guitar Center, and somebody reached out to me through emails like, "Hey," I think the title said something like "Telegraph Stutter on the cover of Premier Guitar," And I'm at work, like trying to find these codes and stuff. I'm like, oh fuck, how do I get back to this guy right away? Because, it seemed time sensitive. So that was kind of like the breakout pedal for us. Like we had mentioned, business card, calling card, and the thing people saw and gravitated towards. And everybody was like, I want one of those. We had a lot of people at that show. They'd walk by and it would catch their eye and they'd stop and they'd look back. And then they would reach their hand over slowly. And they would just touch it a couple times. And then some of them would just be on their merry way. They just had to touch it. It was almost like a moth to flame type of thing. People couldn't get away from it. We had them on display like an army. So it was like, hey, you kind of can't miss it. And it was also at that show, not to go down this hole, but it was actually at the show that we hooked up with Third Man Records, because they're from Nashville, to start the Jack White collaboration. So the Telegraph definitely
is Third Man his company?
Yeah, Third Man is Jack White's record company that he started in 2008. Gotcha. 2009. Yeah, right around that time. It was actually originally started as a place for Jack to store all of his guitar gear when he wasn't on tour. It just turned into this huge record store. But yeah, so they're down in Nashville as well. But yeah, that was kind of our first thing. We had our reverb pedal, our boost pedal, and we had the Telegraph.
Now, have you ever thought of, and maybe I'm speaking out of school here, I'm not, of a pedal where, like, if it was a Telegraph pedal, but while you hold it down, an effect came on, like a phase or a flange, and then you let go and it's gone.
Yeah, we did have people with requests for that, and right out of the gate, I had initially decided I didn't want to confuse the market with that product. I didn't want to have the conversation arise around me of, oh, hey, you got that Telegraph. I've got one too. What's yours? Oh, mine's a phaser. Oh, that's really cool. Mine's this fuzz pedal. Oh, what's yours? Mine's this, mine's that, because there's no control over it. It's just the kill switch. And I didn't want to be like Gibson and confuse the market on what is what and everything like that. And I just kind of took that. I think I actually always think back to Paul Reed Smith when Gibson, I think the story goes, Gibson was essentially complaining that Paul Reed Smith having a Les Paul lookalike was confusing the market. And Paul's like, look at your models all intertwining all these stuff. I think you guys are confusing the market type of thing. And I always think about that story, whether that's turning into the Mandela effect on my part or not, but I didn't want it to have like 10 different people. Oh, which one do you have? Then we got to create different circuit boards, different prices, different colors, different all this for it. And I kind of wanted to just be, it is what it is. It's going to be a kill switch or an activate. It wasn't until Third Man approached us about doing this octave pedal where, again, it was with an idol of mine. It took 4 years to make. It's different. It still has the heart and soul of the kill switch with it, but it has momentary stuff, which we can talk more about. But to answer the long story short, I didn't want to create all these different SKUs of the exact same thing. It's like, hey, I found a Telegraph on reverb. Well, which one is it? Oh, it's the spring reverb style. Oh, I've got the analog chorus one. So that was kind of my fear. And again, those things were tough to work with. Like, it was one of those things where it's a better business card than it was a business model, I think. And that's kind of the reason we never put anything in it.
Yeah. I was curious because I you think sometimes, like I think sometimes you've never seen my pedal board, but it is obscene. Jerry can tell you my board's it's obscene. So like when I'm at a gig, we play songs and we play them like as true to the record as we can.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for a few bars, I got to sit and press on a chorus pedal, then I'm off and I'm on to something else. But it's, so that's why I was like, but then again, when I think about it, I don't want to stand there. I don't want to hold it down.
Right. Yeah. Well, one thing you can do, like in the relation of Telegraph and momentary effects, that was actually out of the gate one of Jack's ideas when we were doing the triple graph. We had met him in 2017, 1 year after the first show. We brought him a proof of concept because a whole year had passed and it was Summer NAMM again. This ridiculous cycle of every 6 months or so. And we brought him a proof of concept and he had the idea of, hey, would it be really cool to have one of the keys with a momentary effect? We already have the kill switch, but it'd be cool if you could switch it to have, let's say, a fuzz in the loop. So we worked on that for a while, and that's how it ended up coming to be with the triple graph. In the middle position, you can either have a kill or you can have a momentary effect. And that's kind of where it came from. So just to go back to what you were saying, Dave, with like
Oh.
a momentary burst of something, it's kind of fun and it's engaging and it draws you to it.
Sure.
And you go, you know what? I can go back for a little bit. I don't have to be on my pedal board, but say I want phaser for a couple bars, just hold it down, walk away.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I always try to think about stuff with pedals because, like I said, I have here's how insane I am, just so you know, because
you don't have to
my
sell
pedal
it,
board's
whatever,
not only nuts. I don't like taking it out so much because it's such a heavy schlep that I have a smaller board that I take out.
Yep, the Go board. Yep,
and that board is bigger than most people's boards. I'm like, well,
the sports board.
Yeah, I got like
you don't want
I
to
got
take
the
out the sedan, so you have a sports board.
I got the soloist on that.
Mhm.
The Jesse Davy, what's it, King Tone soloist, and I have what's the rock box boiling point. You're friendly with Rick
Tomasi.
I was gonna say Rolo Tomasi.
I like that more.
Yeah, you know that's from LA Confidential.
Okay, that's
Rolo Tomasi. He's the Phantom Killer. Rick, and so Rick, for a while when I first came back to Boston area, Rick hooked me up with pedals because I was like, all right, listen, I got to clear out some of my pedals and I got to get some. I ended up getting a couple of boiling points from him, and but I have like I'm big into tremolos, so I have a couple of diamond tremolos and oh yeah, diamond, yeah, great pedals, yeah. I used to have the memory lane too, and then I was like, you know what? It's not worth the real estate that it's taken up. It was a huge pedal, and I ended up getting rid of it. And now I just use like 4 small. I use two on my big board. I use 2 delays and 2 reverbs. I have like the Alter Ego and Echelon, and then I have a Seraphim and what's the Blue Sky?
The Strymon pedal?
Yeah, Strymon Blue Sky. Yeah, I have 2 Strymons on my big board. I have a Blue Sky and an Ola.
Yeah, the Ola.
It's all good stuff.
You don't see that a lot. Yeah, Rick was actually our first shop ever. So we had met him down when he had a shop in Manamit. We were talking about this on the phone. I think he
upstairs.
He was upstairs. It looked like a dental practice strip hall type of thing. And you'd go up a couple flights of stairs, and it'd be this little loft, and everything had like knee walls and stuff like that. And it's like essentially he was like up in like a kid's getting like a little bit of independence from his folks type of room. It was great. He had a skylight, and it was just low. I was like, even at that point,
and it had the wall where everything was on shelves.
Even then, he had a boatload of stuff. He packed it in that place, and it was really cool. And like I said, we had the Telegraph was actually coming out. Like it wasn't out yet. I think he had a prototype. He was originally concerned about like its lightweight and everything, and he was like, "This seems like it's going to be pretty cool." And he picked us up. And we barely had any pedals. All we had was like utility boxes. We had a couple boost pedals and stuff. And he was like, yeah, I'll put in a little order of like 29 pedals. And at the time he put it in, it was like, holy crap, this is like amazing for just like we build a couple pedals in a garage. And he's the pedal guy. That's literally his name, his guitar pedal shop. And after that, obviously he moved down to Court Street. He was behind that pub, and then he bought the music box. And
yeah, let me give Rick's a real good guy. Let me give him a plug. Anyways, guys, Krellbar, if you could pull this link up, look up Guitar Pedal Shop. He's out of Court Street in Plymouth, and his name is Rick Tomasi. He's a great guy. Tell him Dave and Alex sent you. He's a great guy. Here's what's funny. I moved back from LA to here. I go to his website. It says Guitar Pedal Shop, Plymouth. I call him. He's in Missouri.
Yep.
He hadn't moved yet. He's like, it's so funny, but I'm going to be out there in a couple of weeks. I said out. And so we kept in contact because I was ordering pedals. And I'm like, and so then I went down and picked him up at his place in Manamit there. And then he bought the music box. Yeah.
Okay. He's got a Facebook page. He doesn't have a website. So
are you sure? Because I'm looking
at
it
Guitar
right now.
Pedal Shop it's a site you buy from.
Oh, it's a site.
It's in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
I think this is it.
It's
if
in
not,
Plymouth,
someone's
right off
getting the
the
free link.
Oh, there it is. Why didn't it come up?
Because you spelled it SHOP.
Yeah, it's
You and your
original
you and your
spelling.
pedestrian cat.
Yes. That's it. Let's see.
That's it.
Yeah, that's Rick. Anyways, he carries a lot of stuff. If there's anything you will need to ask him, you can call him and talk to him. He ships out if you need it in a rush. If you live close by, he's just a great guy, really accommodating. And he has a great guitar shop too. He's got he bought the music box.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Michael Sweet goes down there a lot. Michael Sweet is buddies with him from Michael Sweet? Is that his name?
Striper.
From Striper.
Yeah.
Michael Sweet from Striper. In fact, next week, Howie Simon will be on the show. Howie is the fill-in guitar player for Striper because Oz Fox has been ill and dealing with that. So Howie's been the fill-in. Howie will be on here next week. And then just a heads up, the week after that, which will be January 30th, Ken Haas will be back. He had technical difficulties with his internet company last week, and he was apologetic and was just like, well, whatever day you want to do it. So we're going to do it the 30th. So that's when he'll be here. And then following that, we'll have Anissa Jones, Norm Crosby, and Mr. Warmth. I'm joking. That's the last
Little
three.
Mr. Jones.
The last three were who always on Jerry's telethon.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, Anissa Jones was the girl that played Buffy from Buffy and Jody. She died of a drug overdose at 18. All right. Anyways, so we're making pedals. We're meeting Jack White and Jack Black, I think. Maybe.
I know what Crowbar just did because that song, it was in my head. He said, Buffy, Buffy, come back to me. Right, Crowbar? You were singing that song?
No, I was just when Dave was talking about died of a drug overdose at 18. He just did the
remember the song they made? Oh, jeez. I was giving you more credit than you just came up with right there.
Yeah. I pulled the Homer.
Crickets.
Oh, also, Joe just posted Coppersound Pedals website in there. So if everyone wants to take a look at that as well, while you're perusing, it's pretty good that my audience pay attention to other websites other than Pornhub.
It's not very good. It's pretty good.
Oh, did I say that out loud? Sorry, guys. Richard DeFalco said he's going to order some Down East coffee. That's great. All right, so you meet Jack White. You guys get together. You start doing a project and stuff. Now, it's going to come right out. I don't know much of Jack White's stuff. I will tell you this. Seven Nation Army, is that his song?
Yeah, that was one of the big ones for White Stripe.
Every guitar student that I've had that's maybe under 12 years old, I've had to teach it. And so it's fine. I do like the song. I don't know anything else by the guy, but I enjoyed him in that Might Get Loud. I think he was very respectful. And it's a different generation because obviously I have a few years on you.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say a few, I don't know, 20. So something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Yeah.
I won't tell.
Yeah, something like that. But anyways, I think it's great to get involved. I mean, that's the kind of the thing to do is to get involved with someone that's like-minded, that's doing the thing. And will you be doing more fuzzes as well?
So the Triple Graph isn't a fuzz pedal. It's an octave pedal, and it can have any pedal you want in its effects loop. So, right. So for the listener, it's 3 Telegraph keys in order. And Jack originally came to us with the idea that Summer NAMM Show 2016. He said, hey, I like your Telegraph pedal because we dropped one off. We really played the Jack card because he likes old mechanical things and stuff like that.
Sure.
So he saw the pedal and he's like, hey, I want to do this octave pedal with your Telegraph keys of an octave down, a kill switch like you guys have, and an octave up. And we were like, it's going to be a lot of work, but we want to do this. 4 years later, it came to fruition through lots of work, trial and error. Jack actually brought the pedal and was the beta tester for this pedal. So Jack brought that on tour with the Raconteurs on their reunion tour not reunion tour, but they had been off for a while. 2019, they toured Boston and all over. And he brought them on the road. The last NAMM show we did, we actually made 2 large like shadow box cases, and we had his tour pedals, the 2 that he had, and we brought large boxes of all the parts that it took to do the 4-year project. One was the external hardware, and one was the internal guts. So it was cool having Jack being the actual beta test guy. So he would send us videos between tours of like, hey, I'm having a problem with this, or hey, can we do something about that, or what would we do about this? And we would have meetings. We'd go down to Nashville. We'd come back. We'd have like Skype calls and stuff like that, and we just go over stuff. And during that 4 years, we just kind of like turned it into exactly what he needed it to be. And we essentially had to build everything from the ground up. And actually, I don't normally mention this, but it's a local show. Jack White's guitar tech is from Canton, Massachusetts.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, he played in this band called Energy, which was like a hardcore band that used to play in the greater Brockton area. And it's just so funny that when we hooked up
Energy with 3 letters, NRG?
NRG?
No, like the word have to like
Okay.
stuff.
How old a guy is he?
I'd say he's around my age, 35 or so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's just so funny that I remember seeing his name and I was like, wait a minute. I went over to my CD wall and I was like, my buddy was the drummer in this band, and Dan, Jack's guitar tech, was the guitarist. And it's just so funny that he's from Canton. Whenever he's home, he visits his folks. It's
right.
just so funny that those worlds collide there.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing that with Third Man, like to go back to the question, like, will we do more stuff? If you're asking, will we do more stuff with Third Man? I think everybody's open to the idea. So far, Third Man only has 4 guitar pedals since they've started in 2014. They started with Union Tube and Transistor, this company out of Canada. They also then did a pedal with, you guys might be familiar with Game Changer. They do that plus pedal with the piano key on it and the plasma pedal where you can see like lightning come through it and stuff. If you're not familiar, you might want to look it up as well. They're really cool. They're out of Latvia. And they also do a pedal with the company Mantic Flex, which I believe are out of Colorado. So they had approached us. They only had 1 pedal out.
These are all pedal companies you're naming?
Yeah, I'm naming pedal companies that are working with Third Man. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yes. No, I just don't know them. There's so many pedals. Yeah.
Totally. I get it. I forget that I swim in the deep end of guitar pedals.
Right.
Yeah. So Third Man collaborates with companies that are very small, and they make turntables. They do stuff for digital and analog film. They have books. Jack White does upholstery when he's not on tour. So they have a lot of stuff, and they work with small companies, and us being one of them is just, it's helped us immensely, and it's kind of brought us in more into the foreground ever since doing this with Third Man.
Joe, you had a sofa you wanted to get redone, didn't you?
What?
Forget it. It was a great joke. He says he does upholstery in his time off, Jack White.
Oh my God. Was it a casting couch? Was that the joke?
No.
Joe got stuck on it.
No. It was actually, it's all these jokes come from the last hour of last week. Oh, guys, don't forget also, did you guys remember the album? We have an album to discuss at the end of tonight. I knew you'd forget, Joe. And Hugh Caldwell, I hope you're in the chat and you didn't forget.
I had an idea. I'm going to look it up. Go ahead.
All right. And so now, what is going on with your company now? How many? Like, are you distributed by? Do you have a distributor, or do you handle everything yourself?
The only distribution we have are for overseas companies. We have one in Japan, and that's our main. That's one of the main ones. Generally, we handle everything. We have a person that works in the shop that just handles online. Like, we'll talk to dealers. We'll do local deliveries if it's like Rick or somebody like that throughout New England. So sure. He does all the invoicing. He does all the communication. He does all of the dealer logistics and stuff like that.
Not to take away from Rick, who else do you have? Who else is close by that you have? And when I say close by, do you have like his front? What is it? Front something? Are they dealers?
Our closest in this area would be Matt's Music over in Weymouth on 18.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know Matt's.
Yeah.
Very familiar.
Yep. No, I'm talking about what's the place in Bellingham? Have you been to that place?
No.
Front. What is? Oh, Up Front Guitars.
Up Front. Nope, not familiar. We do have a pretty good amount of Massachusetts. We try not to have too many. We generally try to treat it with like a jurisdiction. So if we've got like we've got, for instance, like we're not down in Santa Monica, but down in True Tone in Santa Monica, we've got them as a dealer, we wouldn't pick up another shop in Santa Monica.
Yeah, of course not.
Just out of a jurisdiction thing. But obviously, when it's in your
You
backyard,
wouldn't find one in Santa Monica. That's where I lived. You wouldn't find one there. Now, who do you deal with over there?
Yeah, True Tone.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on the name again. I don't do the dealer relations.
Sunir?
I think so. That's at least the last name that I recall that we worked with.
Sunir Patel.
Yeah.
Before it was Ken Daniels. Ken was.
Sunir's the one that rings a bell to me. That's a cool shop. Every time we're over in California,
a great guy. Big Sox fan.
I really like their shop. For being a pretty small shop, they have a really great selection in there.
Oh, they killed it. Well, I believe it was started years ago by Ken, who sold his part to Sunir. But Ken used to be with Ace Music, which was also another big Santa Monica place. The only other place around locally that you could probably, I mean, there's a place called Alva's down in San Pedro. They're a big pedal dealer, but that's about 30, 40 miles. That's not close to, but it's close enough. When I managed Alva's at one point, and they loved pedals, didn't want to sell to me because they were dealing with Ken at the time, and at that time, Sunir was my Fender guy.
We've had scenarios, just continuing with the dealer relations thing. We've had dealers that have reached out and they'd be near somebody, and so in this scenario we would contact True Tone and be like, hey, these people reached out to us, would that be an issue there? Because sometimes we have dealers that are like, hey, they have a completely different market than us, different clientele, they're over the highway and it's an hour, it doesn't really matter, screw it, it's cool if you do it. And it's like, so we just keep that relationship open there, and that's generally the best thing for the dealers, kind of like give them the power.
True Tone's on Santa Monica Boulevard. Yeah, they're a mile away from us, so that's about 2 hours.
Yeah, the freeway makes it 48 minutes,
depending on traffic. You're not even to the freeway yet. I used to work at West LA Music, and West LA is on Santa Monica Boulevard, literally maybe 2 or 3 miles from True Tone. And if you were to leave True Tone at 3 p.m, you were not getting to my shop till close to 4.
Yeah, I've always, like, not being from there, but talking, like, one of the guys that works here is from the Bay Area and knows that area as well. And I feel like every time I'm there, I always say, like, everything's pretty much 45 to 60 minutes away from everything,
except at night, then everything's 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
As soon as traffic's gone, you're going to Pasadena, 20 minutes. It's in the middle of the day. You're going to Pasadena, you'll be there in 3 hours. Good luck to you. Go on the parking lot, the 405 to go to the Valley. Good luck to you. No, it's bad, but I love it. It's paradise. That's what happens when everyone clamors for it. But yeah, I mean, there's I'm trying to think of what other shops on the West Coast do you deal with?
On the West Coast, so for California, we've got the couple stores, Bananas at Large.
Oh, yeah, you got Allen.
Yes, what is it, San Rafael, and then they have another one.
Yeah, this is Allen. Yeah.
Yep, we've got one way up north in Eureka at Mantova. The Mantova boys, they're built like trees, which is appropriate for where they are up in that neck of the woods. Yeah, we have a few others over in that area. Again, like I said, I don't. Oh, what's his name? Chris Barcliffe, Pitbull and Pitbull Audio. You guys familiar with that? Over in I think it's National City or something like that.
I know the name.
Pitbull, and they're also Music Store Live, I believe.
Yeah.
So we have a few. I mean, California is a huge state, and one of the guys here that's a member of the company lived, like I said, in the Bay Area. Yeah. So he's got a lot of ties over there. So whenever we're over there, we see his family. We drive up the coast. We try to hit stores while we're at NAMM, because that actually is the more beneficial part of the travel to NAMM. Instead of being actually at the floor, it's like we'll go see the dealers for that week.
So Johnny Crane is saying, do you build these pedals in the USA? I believe, Johnny, he builds them right there where he's sitting.
Yeah, pretty much all in here. That's
a garage in the USA, yes.
Yep, we've got like a bullpen area where I've built 2 of those benches, and I built this bench here and all the infrastructure here, and we built everything right here in Massachusetts. And yeah, it's just a few guys in a shop building as much as we can, and keeping the dream going.
Years ago, there was a Gibson rep from Easton, He wasn't a rep. This is in LA.
Okay.
He wasn't a rep. He was the product. Like, he would go in and make sure your product, whatever. And he's going on and on to me about Jade. What's it called? Jade Leaf.
The place over in Brockton, West Bridgewater area.
Brockton Easton Line, right by White's Bakery.
Yeah,
across the street.
Yeah, that goes into West Bridgewater. Yeah, Jade Leaf. Yep.
Yeah. Like, it was the great. So I couldn't wait when I came back here. I'm like, I cannot wait to go try Jade Leaf. Nothing. just a regular Chinese joint. I could have I want to go back and find him and have him murdered. Folks, if anything is to happen,
You'll end
to
up
this
in
gentleman, Sean from Gibson. But no, seriously, I was really shocked about that. Anyways, you can see we go all over the beaten path here. So what's your prospects for the future? What is your goals since we're in January for 2022?
So our next checkpoint with Telegraph, we almost have to treat it like two companies here. Like, I always call it the CSP hat and the third man hat. So with the Telegraph, they'll usually place purchase orders with us, and the Telegraph has been out a little over a year now, and to date they've had 3,000 units on order, which is just an astronomical amount for how long the pedal takes and how much is involved with it for just a few guys to make it. And to date, we've made almost 2,000 of them. So we're just shipping them and we're freighting them out as much as we can build. Obviously, with global trading and everything like that, that's a lot slower right now. But we've got to get everything in the shop and build them. And a lot of our stuff is made here. Actually, the key itself, the Telegraph key itself that we designed, is made in Taunton and Sharon, Foxborough area on one. There's two shops that essentially the two of them together make the Telegraph key hardware. So we're making as much of it as we can local. And so our prospects for the next couple of months is to finish these two purchase orders through Third Man. And then we've got, I think we have 5 or 6 pedals in the queue or on the docket. I had mentioned to you previously, we're doing a Telegraph V2. And we are going to also be doing a revamp on our pickguard series, which I don't know if you guys were familiar with our site. Our pickguard series is the stuff that kind of look like guitar pedals.
Right.
That look like guitars, but in pedal form.
Right, like a Strat input.
Exactly, yeah. So we've got Broadway, which is our germanium treble booster, and the Strategy, which is our preamp.
Right.
Tele
and Strat, got it.
Exactly. So we've had these out for years now. Since actually this style too was the first one I ever built for Jordan, one of the guys that works with us, and that's how we kind of started. So the Strategy is getting a facelift on the inside. I'm working on a version 2 of it that'll hopefully be out in the next few months, and the Broadway's getting I'm working on like a internal thing right now, just updating everything. We've got this new switching system. I don't know if you guys, how familiar you are with like the actual switching system of stuff. You know, some pedals click, some pedals don't click, all that type of stuff, depending on how you do your bypass. We have this really cool bypass system that we're working on that uses relays, and it uses a hard switch, so it still feels like you're pressing something on, but it's technically a momentary switch. And the idea there is that we have code for a microcontroller written so that essentially when you turn it on, it'll talk to a relay, it'll fire off the LED, you'll get active sound for whatever pedal it is. Now, a lot of people will do this type of relay system, and the problem is if you were to lose power, the relay gets stuck and your pedal doesn't bypass power. So we wrote the code for it so that if you lose power or get the power unplugged, it defaults to bypass mode.
Excellent.
Which even in a hard mechanical old foot switch style won't do that. So we were like, you know what? If you lost power on the board, it's not us. That type of thing going on. So we're kind of revamping and reissuing everything with that new switching system. And, you know, we've got ideas for, you know, a version 2 of Foxcatcher, as you'd mentioned before,
nice.
But we're slowly rolling that out. We've got,
but any plans to the growth plans? But before we go into that, let me just say this. Hugh Caldwell in the chat's asking if you guys make a vibe pedal, like a unified pedal. And then Todd in the chat saying that he has number 745 of your Relic Telegraph Pedal.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't see that on the chat. So, the Relic Telegraph Pedal, yeah, that 700, that was a while back. I could even look that up and tell you what color it is, but that's really cool. Thanks for that support there. So, what was the first question, Dave? You're saying
You
what?
guys make a Univibe pedal?
Oh yeah, the no, we don't. It's a pretty intense circuit. The closest we have is we have a chorus pedal called Polaris. Now that's an analog chorus, fully analog, and it's based around the MXR small clone. You guys might be familiar with it. The old EHX
not
pedal.
MXR, Electro Harmonics.
Sorry, yeah, EHX.
Right.
Small clone, one knob, one toggle. So we started with that off the old BBD chip, and we expanded on that to add a volume, a tone control, 2 different types of depth amounts, and a vibrato versus chorus mode. And it's got 2 foot switches as well. We kept it purple actually as an homage to the original one that came out of. But yeah, so we've had talks about Univibe. It's not as much on the front burner as for some other
It's a
stuff.
tough pedal.
It is, but you know what? People love it because it's got ties to this old sound that people remember. We have a new series of pedals that we're working on doing that'll be out hopefully this year with a couple new models. So that's kind of the most immediate future for us. It's kind of been like a double-edged sword, but the triple graph keeping us so busy for 4 years, we haven't actually. The Captain Hook was released in 2019. We haven't released a pedal in about 3 years. Outside of the triple graph, which is obviously funded us to the point where we could hire employees for this and everything, which has been great. But it's dampened us from a design point creatively for our own products. And now that the triple graph is kind of coming down from its biggest peak and everything, we're actually finding time to really work on updates. So I've updated almost every circuit board in here. We're doing updates to the pickguard series, which I had mentioned, and we're working on a new line of pedals that'll be aesthetically similar to ours, but different. And it's just, we had for the longest time, I've been calling it Three Stooges syndrome, where all of the pedals can't get through the door at once. It's just stuck in the frame. And right now we feel like we're to the point where we're all bursting through it. And it's just so many ideas, artwork for several pedals, circuit board designs. I submitted 6 more boards last night, and it's finally getting to the point where we can actually get our own stuff out, which has been great. And hopefully in the next few months, you'll see some new stuff, Dave.
Nice. And if the 3 pedals can't get through the door, you can plug in your Glary Fine guitar.
Oh, God.
Larry Hagman.
We were talking about the Glary.
The Junior edition.
But yeah, so but what about my question though was like about growth. Are you planning on like adding more employees? So I mean, because just from a business perspective, like myself, I would imagine that if you got like 4,000 pedals you need to pump out for this guy and that guy, you could bring in quite a few people and then start bringing in and start getting more aggressive in your sales. Yes, or do you guys? Is it more lackadaisical?
Well, I think slow growth that's correct is better than fast growth that can have a problem. We kind of brought on, it had been essentially 4 guys in the shop like almost forever, and over the last year we had brought on 3 people, so that's almost 100% growth. And it's just making sure, like, you know, when we get these big checks from Third Man for the collaboration project, it's like we didn't go out and spend a ton of stuff. Like, I still cut up the wood and built the benches in here. We didn't just spend a ton of money on stuff. We want to make sure like our payroll is good for the guys so that they keep us going. So we got to keep them happy.
Sure.
So that type of thing. I would imagine right now, the guys in here are so good. The crew is so tight and they're so fast at making stuff that it's almost to the point too where me making these new designs, it's like these guys are like, hey, we're hungry. Throw us more pitches because we want to hit some more stuff. And they're like finding stuff to build because we've got so much stock right now. We've never had back stock before. We've always been a company that has not fought in a bad way, but like, oh, we finally got a ton of Foxcatcher built. Okay, well, they're all gone. And like, or like, hey, there's another order. Okay, well, we're working on a batch right now, type of thing. So we've always been fighting that flow of building and supplying for dealers and stuff like that. And we're finally to the point where we actually have stuff on the shelf, and when people order stuff, the only thing we don't ever have is stuff like this that's like a la carte, because our dealers and our online order people can choose. Like this one doesn't even have knobs right now, but I could put whatever knobs that the dealer would order. So this is a la carte, which is nice. It keeps it fun and fresh for me. But we're finally to the point now where we actually have stock of stuff, and the guys are building everything they can. And I'm like running out of stuff to throw at them. So having these new pedals coming out, which, maybe we'll have a few this year, but we've got about 6 or 7 in the queue right now. And that's going to be the growth, I think, there. And then we'll see if it's something where we need to bring somebody on. I would say, if anything, if you guys follow any social medias or our website stuff or any of our branding things, the guy that does all that, he could almost use an assistant right now. He's just so busy with, he's doing this, 50, 60 hours a week.
Can one of you guys put the link for Coppersound on Instagram so these guys can follow?
Okay, I don't have Instagram, so
No, I got an Instagram up. Give me a second.
Yeah. We're gonna give you the Instagram so you guys can follow them. You're on Instagram, yes? I can. Yeah, you're on. I follow you guys on there. Yeah, no, I didn't mean. Yeah, when I meant growth, like years ago, I worked with Grover Jackson. Mm-hmm. And one of the things we talked about when we talked about how Jackson was so successful, Charvel and Jackson, was he didn't come out of the gate making 900 models. Mm-hmm. It was 1 or 2 models, and that was it. In fact, he was like, going on about the way the guitar and bass market work, that it's hit or miss that a company that does good with guitars does good with basses. It's not that often. And but it was just interesting because he was saying, you want to come out with a few models, and then it doesn't work, get rid of it and throw something new in there that maybe whatever to that effect. But no, I mean, I think you guys are doing good stuff. Reminds me of like Full Tone when they first started. And he had a small. I mean, he still runs a pretty small shop, and but
a lot of these pedal shops are pretty small. Last time I spoke with Strymon, there were only 12 people.
Oh, really?
A lot of they've also got their whole stuff is surface mount, so it has to come in assembled, and they do final assembly and quality.
Right.
But like a lot of these guys are just small shops. You don't see the biggest shops are probably Boss.
I remember when Strymon was Damage Control.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
they used to have tubes and everything in there.
Well, in fact, if you were one of the first people to get a Strymon pedal, those like the original, like what was the first ones, the Ola and that first series of them, they all came with Damage Control power supplies.
Yeah, the power supply still says Damage Control on it.
Oh, it does.
Well, what do you mean by Damage Control?
That was the name of the company. Yeah,
they were. Yeah, initially it was the guys. It was some of the guys from Line 6 that had left, the designers, and started Damage Control, and it was this overdrive pedals. I mean, and you can find them online. They were awful, and when I mean awful, when JHS can make an Angry Charlie in a square box, a tiny box, and Damage Control makes this thing that looks like the Pod with pedals on it, you're like, all right, and it's got tubes. Mm-hmm. Not happening. And then see what happened was they came through us before I had started managing West LA, and I was like, why did we get these? So we got them, and then as soon as they changed the name to Strymon, they bypassed my store and went to True Tone. So I was like, hey, you guys got screwed. You guys got these pedals. But anyways, not good. But the Strymon stuff, I swear by. I think it's some of the best stuff out there.
Yeah, Pete Selly, one of the main guys, he worked at Analog Devices up in the Boston area, and I think he went to MIT. So he's not. He's not very smart.
Yeah, no. There's a guy also from Boston named Bill Finnegan, I think, that went to MIT.
He worked with people at MIT.
Oh, no, he worked there. Yeah, that's it.
On the center. Yeah, Bill was here a couple weeks ago.
He was?
Yeah, him and
My friend Mike Johnson was the head of the video department there.
I don't agree with Bill on a lot on some stuff, sound wise. In other words, I don't like, but I do agree with him on the insanity of people.
Right.
Because people will sit there and say to me, I have a clone made by Matthew Effects. I've seen so many videos with people with clones and the real clone. I've played the real clone. At the end of the day, can I tell the difference? No. Do I care? No, I don't. It also when you hear the red one and then you hear the original one, it's all the same shit to me. No one's going to sit there and go, oh, listen to that Jeff Beck song. See, that's the real clone. But the next song he's going to turn on, no. There's no way in hell. If you could do stuff like that, you'd be more interested in why his pitch is off than than his tone.
I heard a demo of a clone, Chinese clone that's very cheap. I heard a comparison, and difference really isn't that much.
No, I mean, but it was a great pedal for what it does and how he designed he wanted it used. See, that's the other thing is Bill had it specifically designed for what he wanted it to do, which was to make his smaller amplifier or his bigger, not have to turn it up and make it sound like it was turned up. That's the goal.
Yeah,
for
being out in the mid to late 90s, he did stuff that no other guitar pedal did at its time, and he had it custom done in the Boston area.
Agreed.
The enclosure was unique. What the circuit did was unique, and I'm not really a big proponent of the sound of a Centaur or a KTR. I have him being from this area is cool. We've met a couple times at shows, and it wasn't until as of recently that him and I kind of hooked up. We have a mutual friend in John Snyder who runs this guitar company called Electronic Audio Experiments, and John works with Bill because John's he has a degree in electronics. And he's done a thesis and everything like that, and he's this brilliant guy, and we get lunch together and we talk about stuff, and Bill had got together through me, and I was helping him out with some stuff, and he was picking my brain on a few things, and he had come down to the shop. We had talked about stuff, and him and I are working on some stuff in the background, not like a collaboration wise, but more of I'm kind of helping him get on the modern level of like ordering for import stuff, how things are done nowadays, whereas when he was building stuff, it was the wild west.
Yeah.
You might be able to see over my shoulder here a couple of these red things. Those are so we can assemble circuit boards. That didn't exist when Bill was doing it. He had to create something, and he said he used to hold it up on like vegetable cans and stuff so he could populate the circuit board. And now you go online, you can buy that for a couple $100. Wow. And like the stuff that he was doing, they didn't have things for it. They didn't have jigs. They didn't have assemblies. They didn't have, that type of stuff. So I think I have a respect there for what he was doing, and I think I understand the frustration he has and everything more. He's definitely a very particular fella.
Oh, yeah.
And he knows that as well. He knows he can be, I think, a little bit of a curmudgeon with stuff, but it's just, and he knows sometimes he's out of his depth with things of how it is now. And it's good that he's opening up with John more so and myself. John's actually he's going to be doing the KTR revision and stuff like that, but not to go off on.
I love how Bill just goes off on the silver and the gold. There's no difference. I love how he just rips on that whole, everything and how he built every one of them. And he's like, I built every one of these things.
Yeah. And I think that's just the gear page and Reddit, or Dreaded as I like to call, just being ridiculous about stuff.
It is absolutely, but now here's the thing, what I said where I don't agree with him. I don't really, it's like, I think how the clone was designed, it does a decent job. Does it do a better job or much of a different job than the Tube Screamer? Yes. Because I think the Tube Screamer's job is a little different. It's not to make the amp sound like it's on full blast. It's to give it a little bit more warmth and drive. It's a different sound. And so do I like the Tube Screamer better? I mean, I like a lot of Tube Screamer clones better, but the point I'm making is I don't know that it's like that great of a thing of what it does, but for the people that like it, it is what it is. It does what it does, but they're all the fucking same.
Yeah, I think there's a reason on the KTR he put that disclaimer.
Right. Yeah.
the
When I say
kindly
they're all the
remember-
same, I mean all the clones. Once they figured out what it was, because for a while before, when the internet was new, there was two. I think there were two things they were saying that it could have been the two. Is it
diodes.
the op amps?
Are you talking about the diodes that people were,
Yeah.
the internet made out these mystical diodes, which it never was. It just happened to be a
Right.
surplus that he had gotten from Russia, which he had just run out of recently. And John Snyder from Electronic Audio Experiments, he's kind of stepping in to help with the new diodes create the original sound and flair of it, but in a better manner. Theoretically, all the KTR stuff is better.
Yeah.
Just by standpoint of surface mount is superior to the through hole, but the internet has this thing about, and we know as guitarists, we tend to favor old-fashioned things. We like old stuff, and we think there's a mojo there. And I think at the end of the day, I kind of live in the park of, if whatever is in front of you inspires you, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So I if you got one that's surface mounted, you got one that's through hole, you got one that's got mojo, or one that's like you made it home on a breadboard type of thing. If the feeling still moves you, it's all a good thing. I wouldn't go too far into a camp of, oh, it's this or it's that. I have.
Oh no, right. My point is the people who are comparing them, because the
internet loves to think that they have something special too. That person that has look at this.
Drives me nuts.
I've got a golden one that has the Centaur guy on it, which I don't know if this is going to bust anybody's bubble, but when Bill was here, he said he didn't like that logo. He's never liked the logo, and that's why it ended up leaving when he did the silver ones. And it's like they want to feel like they have something special. I get that, and I think
I love when they show like two amplifiers. And there's like, here's two Marshalls, and they're like, we're comparing the both Marshalls, and they're like, this one the tone's a little bit brighter, and I'm like, guy, look, there's a tone knob there. There's tolerances. Turn the fucking knob, asshole. What the hell? Everything has to be at 12 o'clock, and that's what they live by. Oh, this one's got a little bit more mids.
To 11.
It's like,
goes right to 11.
It's like, you know what? I'll record both these amplifiers, and I'll bet $1 million on a double blind test. You can't tell them apart. Of course, you can't tell them apart. Every amp sounds a fucking. Basically.
I tell you what, if I was given the choice right now between a real clone that's worth about $4,000, you pay $4,000 for these fucking things, or $4,000 worth of Down East Morning Blend, I'm swimming in fucking coffee.
You love it.
With that, I'm going to get another cup. I'll be right
back. All right, go get your cup. But yeah, no, the internet is especially for a pedal maker like you and anyone that's in, the retail or manufacturing, it's hard to deal with the absolute nonsense of what people claim to hear as to what they actually hear and what they want. And but I mean, I think it's all good stuff. Like I said, I wish you guys a lot of success. I think you guys, that your name has stuck out to me. I see it everywhere. And the Foxcatcher, what is that? We talked about that, I think, on the phone. What was that based on? Or what is the thought behind it? Is it just a low gain?
Yeah, so it lives in the low to medium world. It's based off the old Marshall Blues Breaker. You guys might remember those, the old black box before they went to the silver ones. They had the Shredmaster. They had
Jackhammer, I think.
Yeah, and the Blues Breaker. So essentially, like
those silver ones. Those were the redone ones in the 90s, right? With the Governor and the
Governor and that type.
Not
stuff.
The 90s, early 2000s, I think even.
Yeah, and. We were working on an overdrive pedal, and I had mentioned to everybody that I had a JHS Morning Glory, which is Blues Breaker based, and it was like kind of all of a sudden, like overnight, everybody was like, we were working on a JFET based style, which is driven through multiple JFETs, kind of like tube amps. You can think of most pedals that Brian Wampers put out are usually JFET driven stuff, like his Plexi Drive and whatnot. So we were working on something in that vein, and I was like, hey, would you want to go Blues Breaker based? Because the Morning Glory had been out, and at the time I couldn't really remember a lot of pedals that were Blues Breaker based. You'd see a lot of people
There's a Charlie Brown is too from JHS, isn't it?
Similar, yeah. It's that type of style because essentially a blues breaker is to be similar to a JTM 45, which gets its name off the 212 version that Clapton played in John Mayall on the Blues Breaker.
Right.
So there's a correlation there. But anyway, to paint with a bit of a broad stroke outside of JFET driven stuff, you've essentially got hard clipping stuff like the Rat, DOD 250, that type of stuff, Distortion Plus. Technically, the Klon is a hard bass clipper like the Rat. You've got your Tube Screamer style and
a soft clipper, right?
And you've got soft clipping stuff, kind of like Blues Breaker, but there wasn't a lot of Blues Breaker stuff on the market. And I was like, "Hey guys, let's go Blues Breaker." And everybody played the Morning Glory. They really, and everybody loved it. And I was like, "So let me take the Blues Breaker style circuit and tweak it a little bit." And that's where the Foxcatcher came out to be. And when we were originally making this back in 2016, we released it in Black Friday of 2016. And we were doing some field tests. We had our gravity bomb. I mentioned we have a tiny little pedal that's in a small enclosure like this for the gravity bomb, and we put it in there as an accompanying thing so you could have a solo boost with it. And we had got a lot of feedback, which was really great from players. And they said it'd be cool to have an order toggle, which you see much more common nowadays. And so we put that on there so you could have the gravity bomb boost pre or post, so it would either be more gain or more volume respectively.
Right.
And we added
more
gain if it's
compression.
Yeah, more gain and compression if it's pre, more volume and open if it's post.
Right.
Yeah, so we added that. We expanded the tone on there. We got playful with one of the names was Nature because it's got the knife on there. And that's been our flagship since, and we've made over 600 of them. Which, going back to your question about like growth and new products and this need to create new products and this constant demand of to be up front and center and stuff like that, I say on like a weekly basis, like, yeah, it'd be great for us to get a new product out, which we're working on and we really want to do. And, some people harp and they're like, you guys got to get something else out. You got to get something new out, get something new. And I'm like, I'm never mad that we're busy making a thing we've already made that people want to still buy. People are still buying the El Cap. People are still buying the Flint from Strymon and stuff, and I'm sure they're not mad that people are buying that still, and they can't. Like if we're so busy making the stuff we already do, we don't have time to put towards new development. I'm never upset that people are still buying the thing, and I don't have time to make a new product.
Paul Cochran made 2 pedals, the Tim and the Timmy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he's a busy man.
Yeah, that's the price is also there to sell too, which is
I know. But the Busy Man was a reference to the name. It's from Tim the Enchanter from the Holy Grail.
Oh, I didn't even actually know where the name for the Tim and the Timmy came from.
Oh, it came from Tim. Yeah, they were some that call me Tim. You're a busy man.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's interesting that a couple years ago they hooked up with Jim Dunlop's company, right? MXR, and now they're doing so. Essentially, from what I gathered from that, just to go off on that a little bit, is like. Paul still got his, which he's making, but then you could also get the like cheaper surface style one that MXR would produce, kind of.
That's right. He came out with a new version of his though.
Gotcha. Yeah.
He came out with a version where finally, because I have three Timmys around here somewhere. Actually, they're all on boards, but
that's what pops into my mind.
Right.
My favorite's Jimmy on South Park.
Oh yeah.
Some of the things he says absolutely kills me. But on the Timmy, the bass and treble work backwards. Yep. But on the new ones they work right after he worked with them. I think MXR said to him, "Hey, why don't you make it normal?" Yeah. I never thought about that. What?
Well, yeah. I mean, what's interesting, like a lot of times there's like if you look at the Rat, its filter, it would always be bassier to the right and treble to the left, but it's technically a low pass filter. So when you turn it, it's letting the lows pass. But yeah, I think common like practice for us as we think of stuff, like when you turn it up, there should be more of the thing it says, not less.
Yeah. I mean, it's just but anyways, let's talk about the Foxcatcher because I think it's a pedal that personally, I've watched a bunch of demos on it. I think a lot of people should own it. I don't have one. That doesn't mean that I want one or that I should have one. I'm not trying to ham you for one. What I'm saying is, if I wanted one, I would buy one. and I may buy one. More than likely, I'll own one before the end of the year.
Hi, I'm Dave, and I have a problem.
I do have a problem, but
Are you a pedal holder?
what was the last low drop? I bought that pedal from Hungary. What was that pedal from Hungary I bought?
Oh, from up front?
No, that was a Greek pedal. That was the Jam pedal. What was the one that I bought from Hungary? They make the double. Oh, Honeybee amps. I bought their clean drive.
Get the honey.
It's fucking. Get the Honeybee amps, Junior. It's glorious. It's glorious.
Clean drive sounds like conflicting ideologies.
It's basically like a very weak, like almost like a half power 808.
Okay.
Where the gain isn't really, it's not a lot of gain.
Yeah. People love low gain stuff as a first stage, just to push a little bit more. Like,
great.
We hear a lot of great feedback from players that they love Foxcatcher as always on. They love having it just essentially stuck there and just using the boost. And it's really great feedback to hear. People really have. That's, like you said, that's been our flagship. It's hard to not have a flagship be like an overdrive pedal, but it's been great, and we can't say enough about.
And what does that pedal retail for? So
we just changed the price to $219. They were $199 for 5 years. We never changed the price. They're right now they're $219, and it's still been our best seller. You know, when we
all right, folks, it's $20 more because you're late to the party. But get the hell in there. Get the hell in there before the next one goes up. It's worth it. It's a great pedal. If you guys need to see some demos on it, the Captain does a demo on it with Pete. Mm-hmm. But it's a great sounding pedal. And I think low gain, you can really manipulate more of what you got going on. Also, it makes a clean amp sound good, and it also makes a dirty amp sound dirtier.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
it's also got, I mean, you see a lot of pedals in the market for $199. That's like your standard overdrive. You're going to see a lot of pedals for about $199. And our Gravity Bomb is $100 alone. So having a 2-in-1 there at $219 is nothing, you know. People love that aspect of it too.
Yeah. And the fact that it's switchable, because there are many times I've actually had to switch my whole board around because I have a problem. No, I have the Deja Vibe, you know, the black one that Mike Fuller made. Yeah. It was the one that was 9 volt, but had the 9 to 18 volt conversion inside, so you could feed it 9 volts, and he only made it for a short amount of time because I think he was losing money on it. He decided to make it an 18 volt, which it's great for me because I have so many pedals that I run 2 Voodoo Labs on my big board. 3 Voodoo Lab power supplies run it. There's 23 pedals, so. But I had to move it, so I wanted the drive after the Deja Vibe, not before.
Right.
So I had to put it on my drive board, which, Hugh Caldwell says he has one.
Fucking pedal board sounds like it was designed by Egon Spengler.
Oh, it's just insane. It's just nuts. By the way, they keep showing Gamera on Mystery Science Theater.
Is that a bad thing?
I saw that.
Oh no, I've been watched it like 5 times in the last 2 days.
I stopped watching Pluto TV. I went to Zumo TV and Roku TV because the commercials on Pluto drive me crazy.
Oh, and they come out of nowhere. They don't even go in a normal break.
And they repeat. They repeat one after the other.
Oh,
and they just.
All right, so.
Anyway,
we've plugged your company. Let's talk about Alex. Alex, what do you play? What's your guitar of choice? Is it in that room?
Yeah, actually, the test guitar we use is one of mine. It's a 3-tone Tele from 07.
Can we see it?
Yeah.
These guys are all gear junkies. These guys have been gracious enough to put away their lubricant. What is that? Let me see that. It's a 3-tone.
Oh, there it is.
Does that look like a Perloid pickguard?
Yep.
Did you put that on?
Yeah, so there's a little bit of modifications on this.
Okay, I see. I know Fender doesn't do that. G&L would, but Fender wouldn't do it.
Is that a Glary?
So a couple mods that I did were the basic one of putting the perloid on it. I just sometimes 3-tone gets away with it because it's shiny. There's also up top it's brass nut that's been cut out for it for 11s.
The brass monkey.
I always play 11s, and then inside it's orange drops and cloth wiring.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've had that since 2007. It's become one of like the shop guitars where we try out a lot of stuff because Tele's pretty great for trying stuff out.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much my main guitar. I've got 3 Teles, and that's pretty much it for electric.
I've been playing
mostly
2 Strats. Yeah, that's what I don't know if you've ever watched my channel. I teach like a ton of acoustic songs, and what do I have coming out tomorrow? Anyway. This is I'll show you a guitar I modded. This I found on Craigslist was a brand new for $300. It was a brand new Mexican Stratocaster. I removed the neck immediately and sold it right back on Craigslist for $150, and then put this Wilmoth Wenge neck with an ebony fingerboard on it. I had the logo then lasered in and filled in with acrylic paint.
Nice.
But you can see.
Oh, you got double string tree like I do as well, Dave.
Oh yeah,
I like double string tree.
Absolutely,
Yeah, that G tends to ring out.
And then Dimarzio Pickups, Pro 54 in the bridge, Area 58, Area 58. And this is like one of my main guitars.
You know what I use instead of a string tree on the G string is I take some wire insulation, like 22 gauge usually takes care of take the insulation off, and I slip it over the wire.
Yep.
Over the string between the nut and that guitar back there has that on there. So it only has 1 string tree.
I was thinking the same thing, Johnny. Sorry.
What's that?
Oh, Johnny Cramp had a question, but I cut off Krellball. Go ahead, Krellball.
Oh, no, I'm finished. It was that piece of insulation you just put over a G string. And, well, let me show you real quick.
I don't want to see you in a fucking G string. What are you doing?
I do. Go.
Well,
Go. I wanted to also answer Johnny's question, as you mentioned.
Yes, acoustic guitar pedals.
Not acoustic specific. Our stuff you can use on acoustic. One of my favorite things I use our reverb pedal Daedalus on any acoustic of mine that has plug-in ability to have reverb on my guitar being plugged in, which is a really nice treat. I mean, that's obviously reverb's a very friendly thing it can be friendly, but also can be a hazard for feedback for live.
So every Saturday night, Alex, I play across the street from Rick Tomasi at the music. I play at Martini's in Plymouth, right on Court Street, and I have an acoustic duo. And I plug in my guitar into a hardwire pedal, the reverb pedal with the Lexicon chip, and then I go into the board and also use I stack reverbs,
right?
But if you're ever in the area though on Saturday nights, I'm there every Saturday.
I'll have to swing by when I'm like on a Saturday, maybe try to go to Rick's and see him. And then
he's right across the street. Yeah.
He's got that recording thing underneath the church as well. That old converted church.
Yeah.
Which is really cool too. Our joke has been like, when's Rick going to buy a gas station in Plymouth? He's got everything else going on.
Do you know his buddy, Rob Perlman?
Ooh, that name sounds really familiar.
Rob's a real good guy. Grew up with Rob. He's from here as well.
What's the weirdest instrument you guys have or play? I'm just thinking myself, like off the beaten path for like our general type of player. Like I actually play banjo. That's one of the other things I play.
I tinker around with that a little bit, but I'm by no means.
I have a mandolin right here. I play mandolin at my gig. I do. We do going to California from Zeppelin. I use the mandolin.
That's a good tune.
Yeah, and but I play mandolin. I wouldn't call it a weird, but a piano, and I have a bass 6, which I love.
Oh, those are cool.
And I have a Bender Telecaster, which is really cool.
Nice.
Mandolin, I originally tuned it like Albert Lee does, like the top 4 strings of a guitar. That way there's no learning curve.
Yeah.
And I thought that was pretty intelligent of him, but I ended up tuning in standard mandolin.
Which is violin, which is essentially upside down guitar for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, that's cool.
What I mean by playing,
also have a lap
don't know
steel.
a lot of chords. I did fun stuff like learn Stonehenge and the Godfather theme at one point.
Yeah, I play lap steel in I'm trying to think of I think I do the E minor tuning. E9. No, E minor. I use an E minor tuning for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, banjo's an open G, so I'm familiar with some open tunings.
Tenor.
No, mine's a 5-string.
Yeah, I think is that called tenor?
No, tenor banjo is 4-string. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you have to look it up. I'm not super deep in banjo. I have the only K banjo that they made in open back.
Wow.
Yeah, it was actually at another Boston area. Well, not Boston area. Is the guy's name is Heath? He runs Boston Guitar. Do you know Boston Guitar Works? Used to be.
I know the name. I don't know him.
Yeah, so I got that back in the day down there. But banjo's been one of my,
I actually ran into him. I don't know him.
Yeah.
The only reason why I'm telling you I ran into him is because I'm at Walmart last week and I'm walking through like the water aisle and I hear, "What are you doing? Some shopping?" And it's Jerry. So I was like, "Jerry, what the?" It was like literally like 5 minutes before closing. I'm like, "What the hell are you doing here?" He's like, "I'm doing." So now, as he's saying that to me, this other guy walks by him and says the same thing. "Oh, I see you're getting some shopping done." So then they talked for a minute and we all shook hands or whatever. He walked away and he goes, "Oh, that's that guy." And that was that guy.
Heath. Yeah.
So I can't say I know him, but
yeah.
I said hello to him while I was picking up water.
Yeah. Fascinating.
Yeah.
That's where I got. Yeah, he used to be in Brockton, and now he's in West Bridgewater, and I got my banjo off of him. I used to go to his store all the time back in the day. He's had a few shops, but he's been around a long time.
Well, let me tell you something. If you want to, you can bring that. Do you play banjo well?
Yeah, a little bit. I play folk style.
Oh, I was gonna say, well, I'd have you come down. We'll play. We'll do a little squeeze box. If you go down, if you bring it down to Plymouth, we'll have you. We play like all 70s stuff. You know what I was going to say is, and this is how mental I am because everyone here knows I'm mental. You brought up a relay in the pedal, and all I could think was, God, that was a good song by The Who. What album was that on? Was that not on any album? And then I'm like, it was on Hooligans. Do you guys remember the song Relay by The Who?
Mm-mm.
Anybody in the chat? Hugh Caldwell has to remember. This guy seems to be living my shadow life. He knows every song I know. There was a song called Relay. I'm pretty sure it was on Hooligans. You can hear it in the streets. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's a great tune, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. That's the original lineup, too.
Yeah, I know. It was a good, I'm telling you. When he said Relay, there was like that song went off my head. I'm like, I haven't heard that since I was in.
But you don't know by the name.
I was in 8th or 9th grade when that. No, younger than that. That was like 81 or 82. I'm telling you, when he said Relay, he says, yes, of course. I know Hugh knows it. Guys live in my shadow radio. Everything that's on my radio is getting piped in. By the way, let me just say this. Hugh Caldwell, everybody, is from Glasgow, Scotland. I didn't realize it, but one of my all-time favorite rock and roll singers is also from Glasgow, Scotland. A guy by the name of Alex Ligertwood? How the hell do you say that guy's name? But what a voice on him. You guys know who he is?
Mm-mm.
He's not the guy from Blue Nile, is it?
He sang for Santana. I'm winning. I'm winning.
I remember
He also sang, hold on, nothing's the same. Tell me why I feel.
It wasn't the black guy, was it?
No.
Oh.
He's a guy from Scotland, from Glasgow. Fantastic. You know what? His voice reminds me of Steve Perry a little bit, but just really good.
Oh, is that the guy with kind of longish blonde hair, and he kind of has this big nose and weird looking face?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Yeah, big
okay.
gap in his teeth.
Yeah, he's also one that sang "Searching" too, right?
He's in the 1982 US Festival.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know
with
exactly
Santana.
who it is now.
Great singer. Just thought I'd bring him up. All right, so you got your top 5. Desert. No, I'm going to tell you right now, Alex. Top 3 desert island discs. Let's go. We're shipping you off to an island, or you're stuck in your shop for all weekend, and you only have 3 albums you can bring in.
So I'd have to go. My number 1 off the top is going back to a Jack White record. It would be 2008's "Consolers of the Lonely" by the Raconteurs. That would probably be that's been my stand-in like number 1 record right now.
Wow.
Would be that one. And again, that's why this whole working with him has been such a dream thing, being a huge fanboy. So yeah, I'd go with that as number 1. Instantly, I want to play like the philosophical route of like having a longer record might be better than having one of your favorites that might be short. And in 2011, there's this band, the Deer Hunter. They actually were from the Boston area. They did a record called The Color Spectrum, where they did all 7 colors of the color spectrum, including black and white, and they did 4 songs for each color, which ends up being about a 3-hour record. And I feel like that would be a nice collection to have of 11 4-song albums. So, or I'm sorry, 9 4-song albums. So that'd be my second one. I'd go with The Color Spectrum because I get a boatload of music there.
Okay.
And then the last one for a desert island thing, because this desert has power, apparently.
Yes, this one was already wired by Lovey and the Professor.
They put salt in the water in an oasis and hook it up to a potato and create energy.
That's right.
All right, I've got 2 modern records, so I'm probably going to go with more of an older record.
Just remember, the music you're trying to drown out is the constant boo doo boop boop boo doo 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 doo. That's the walking around music on Gilligan's Island.
So I've got 2 records from the noughties and the 10s. So I'm gonna go with, I think it was 82 it came out. My favorite like older band, if you want to say classic rock, they're kind of a little after that, would be Mark Knopfler's Dire Straits. That would be Love Over Gold, the record he did.
I know, I'm very familiar with that. Well, you said 82. I'll know everything from 82.
I'm pretty sure it was 82. So Love Over Gold only had 5 tracks, but the opener was 15 minutes.
I actually prefer the album before that one, Making Movies from 1980. But I think all those records are good.
Yeah, I think the ones I gravitate towards too are their first eponymous record, Love Over Gold, and I actually like was it 91's On Every Street? I actually like that record a lot too, and I love his solo stuff as well. I'm a huge Knopfler fan.
Hill Farmer Blues, that tone on Hill Farmer Blues is just. Oh, see, Hugh Caldwell's a big Knopfler fan because he's over in Scotland, and those people in the UK love him.
Yeah, I feel like he's underrated, but he's always up there on the charts and stuff like that for player, and just what a great player. And so those would be my records. I'd go Consoles of the Lonely, The Color Spectrum, and then Dire Straits' Love Over Gold.
So I worked with a guy named Matt Rawlings, who's a piano player. And Matt had finished playing, had done a couple of tours with Knopfler. He did a tour as a piano player. Mm-hmm. And then Mark was like, listen, what's the guy's name? Guy, who played piano in Dire Straits. He's like, I've already promised him the next tour.
Was it Nick? Nick? I'm blanking on because the guy that came in during Love Over Gold wasn't on the record before, I think, because he was
I don't know. Whatever piano player he played with, he was and so anyways, he says to Matt, if you can learn, do you know how to play the accordion? He was like, no. He goes, if you can learn in 2 weeks, I'll take you on you got the gig. So he's like, I'll take it. And he took the gig and went and played accordion. But Matt's like the most monster piano. Guy Pratt. Thank you. Yeah. Guy.
Oh, I was going to say Alan Clark. Oh, Guy Pratt. Isn't he a bass player?
I don't know. Let's take a look.
I think I know that name, Guy. I'm looking at keyboard players: Alan Clark, Guy Fletcher.
Oh yeah, Guy Pratt's a bass player. I don't know.
Yeah,
Let me
right.
see.
Guy Pratt played with Pink Floyd too for a little while.
Let me see who played piano for him.
Touring. Let's see.
It'd be the one after the tour that Matt played accordion on. Because the tour before that he played piano.
Oh wow, there's quite like I said, Guy Fletcher.
Oh, that's it, Guy.
Alan Clark.
I said it was a guy named Guy.
Oh,
Guy Fletcher. That's
Some guy named Guy. Omar Hakim played with Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms tour. Wow, I didn't know that.
the drummer.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, so it's good to get these albums because we're not going to get that from anyone. It's very much 20 years younger than we would have listened to. In 82, though, I think, I don't know if Joe's, are you a Dire Straits fan, Joe?
Yeah, I like the big album that
Brothers in Arms. Yeah, the one we graduated high school with. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was like we were like juniors or seniors when that came out.
But
Brothers in Arms, I thought was 85.
85 was Brothers in Arms, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we were either a junior or senior because our junior year ended in 85, and we went into senior year the fall of 85. I think it might have been the summer of 85.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It would have been right between when we were juniors and seniors. I think that because it might have even been earlier because I knew an upperclassman. We talked about that album, a kid a year older than me. So it's definitely. What does it say? What month?
Hang on. Let's see. At least 13th of May, 1985.
Okay, see, it was before the end of the year. Yeah, okay, so that makes
16.
sense. What's that?
I was actually 16. I was 7 days away from my 17th birthday.
All right, everyone, put your calculators away. Trying to figure out his birthday.
Wish me a happy birthday. Around 30-something years too.
Everyone wish Krellbar a happy 16th birthday, everybody. Or 17th it was going to be. Paul Franklin on pedal steel. How amazing is Paul Franklin? There's a legend right there. A legend. I'm a big pedal steel fan. All right, so what about your favorite guitar players? Let's go this. Here's how I'm going to caveat it because Joe will kill me if I don't. 3 favorite guitar players. We automatically have to exclude Jack White because we know he's the number 1. Therefore, we don't want to hear his name again. I'm just saying what Joe's thinking. I just know.
So if we're going to exclude Jack,
there's an old joke in LA, by the way, we used to say when people used to say, who do you think the best guitar players are? And we'd say, you can't say Holdsworth. Just forget about saying Holdsworth because everyone always just says Holdsworth. The guys that I ran around with.
Yeah. So I have to go with Knopfler has always been my top guitarist.
Phenomenal. Well, it's a favorite. It's amazing. Great.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with one of the 3 being Mark Knopfler. Anything between straights and his solo records, all the stuff he's obviously done. Princess Bride. He's done a lot of soundtracks as well.
The tone of his guitar on Hill Farmer Blues alone is, I would say, it's enough to give Billy Gibbons a run for his dough. That tone on Hill Farmer's Blues is just nasty good.
Yeah. I always think about how much he gets out of it as just by himself, with just him and a guitar, and it sounds like there's a couple tracks going, and what he gets out of stuff with his fingers sounds like pick a lot of times. So I'll go with Mark Knopfler as one of them. I think the next thing that pops into mind in more of the 80s era, I actually like more of the stuff he's done recently with other bands would be Johnny Marr.
Oh, now you're talking my game.
Because
I love Johnny Marr.
As a rhythm player, a guy that only plays rhythm in bands, he's one of my favorites for voices and stuff like that. And the stuff that he's done,
the Smiths are a band that doesn't have a bad song. There isn't a bad song. Everything they've done, and I think The Queen is Dead and Meat is Murder, 1-2 punch of have any guitar player learn that stuff, and you're good enough to play in a band. Yeah. That's fucking hard stuff. It's great.
He's really interesting as a rhythmic player. He's done a lot of stuff in the late noughties that I really appreciated as well. He joined for one album. He did a record with Modest Mouse, and then for one record he did an album with the band The Cribs. And just his rhythm playing is just so. He
also was in a band called The.
Yep, and
Mind Bomb album.
Yep, he's been in a lot of projects.
Electronic, which I love. Get the Message. That was a great one. Yeah. Let me just read a few things so we don't. Jan in the chat is saying his 3 desert islands are Abbey Road, Royal Scam, and Machine Head.
Abbey Road, my favorite.
James
Beatles
Stewart
song.
said Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck, and Van Halen. Can I just say this? Do you guys remember? Now, everyone here in the chat will remember because me and Bingham have been making jokes about this. Now, I don't know if you know John Bingham. He works for Boutique Amps.
I know Boutique Amps. Yep.
Yeah, so John's the guy that does the sales for them, and he comes on the show, was an old roommate of mine and worked with me years and years ago, and I speak to him regularly. John and I have this ongoing joke because back when we were younger, if you ever talked to a heavy metal shithead or a heavy metal hero, whatever you kind of nickname you want to call them, and you ask them who are your influences, and I'm talking about guys who pride themselves in shred. They would say, I like Ritchie Blackmore, Yngwie, and Bach.
Or Paganini.
Those are your influences. Oh, Bach is your influence. You heard you heard the harmonic minor scale, and now this guy's your big influence.
Yeah.
It's like the funny thing is it all started because Yngwie, when he came out, was big into Bach, but when you hear Yngwie play, you can hear the guy knows his catalog. Like he doesn't just know 1 or 2 pieces. He grew up listening to a lot of it.
Well, yeah,
but
all these rip-offs of pieces. So
yeah, but I mean, a lot of these guys, it's like
Icarus Dream Suite is a definite.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you like classical music, everything you're going to compose is basically going to. I mean, you basically. I feel like Hannibal Lecter here. And what do we covet? What do we covet, Clarice? What we see every day? Yeah, if you play it, if that's something you're listening to but I'm just saying these young kids, when they're Guitar Player magazine and they're like, my 3 influences are Paul Gilbert, Chris Impellitteri, and Brahms. Brahms?
Yeah, the Guitar Spotlight, the Mike Varney.
You know what I'm talking about. It's fucking I don't know what's going on, folks, but if you're in the chat, you should be laughing your balls off because that is funny stuff. Brahms. You could do it with any 3 guitar players. I like Jimmy Page. I really like Eddie Van Halen and Tchaikovsky. Fuck you guys all. It's funny. I don't care what you guys. It's funny. All righty. Let's see what else. Schenker, Blackmore, Gary Moore. Guys, all like the same thing. You know what I respect? I'm going to give Alex some props right now. The guy comes on and says Johnny fucking Marr. And you guys probably don't even listen to Johnny Marr. I know Hugh Caldwell does. Again, he's been shadowing my radio for 30 years. But Johnny Marr is phenomenal. Are you a Smiths fan?
Yeah, like I said, I really got more into his stuff with the other projects, but I'd probably go... I feel like as a vegetarian, I probably have to say Meat is Murder would be the record I would go to, but The Queen is Dead, like those would be the 2 I'd go to. And I don't know their catalog as well. I know a lot of the stuff he did after as well. But
Park the car on the side of the road. You should know.
When I think of tremolo, and there's actually a setting I think in the Flint's Handbook. When I think of tremolo, I think of How Soon Is Now.
Yeah, but I think wasn't that like two different?
It was
yeah,
it's a big on-off type.
Yeah, but like for that type of effect, I think of that song.
Oh, it's great.
Just so cool. And I'd also say to round off my 3rd for a more modern player, I'm actually going to go probably with John Frusciante.
Yeah.
Right. For like, everything he did in the in Chili Peppers, just his voicings, his tone, that type of stuff. Like I thought his stuff was really interesting to listen to. You know, his rhythmic stuff, like on Can't Stop, to his solo that are very melodic, like something like Danny California or Scar Tissue. He does a lot with a little, and he has a good appreciation like Gilmore of Space, which I really like.
I have to say, for me, the Chili Peppers died after Mother's Milk.
I see we got a purist in the house.
Well, I mean, I like
Mother's Milk. Mother's Milk was for Shante, wasn't it?
It was, but it was kind of like it's.
I think they've been after that album. What's the album that came after Mother's Milk?
Blood Sugar Sex Magic.
They've been making that album for 30 years.
Yeah,
is Under the Bridge on Blood Sugar Sex Magic?
Yeah.
Everything sounds like Under the Bridge from
with
that
the
point
exception
on.
of One Hot.
But that's why I loved Mother's Milk, because I loved some of the funky stuff was still there. I liked, of course, I liked early Mommy Where's Daddy, Freaky Styley. But when you got to Mother's Milk, you had what's it? Subway to Venus.
Yep. Subway to Venus.
I think Fishbone played Fish played drums on a couple of the tracks too. Taste the Pain.
Stone Cold Bush.
Knock Me Down, right? Isn't Knock Me Down?
Magic
If you
Johnson,
see me getting mighty, if you
Knock
see
Me
me
Down.
getting high, knock me down. Great stuff. But for Shante, I'm not as familiar with, because the Chili Peppers themselves, to me, didn't do it for me. So I wasn't. But I it's a name that comes up with a lot of people younger than me that I just haven't given the shot to. Now let me ask Joe, because we don't really talk. Joe, what are your 3 favorite guitar players? Because
I don't know.
You live in a different world. You're like a heavier, into heavier, doomier stuff.
Are we talking all-time favorites?
All time.
Shit. Oh. Well, I gotta have. I always have Gilmore on the list.
Gilmore's good.
Yeah,
He's unbelievable. Well, personal favorite, I've always loved Randy Rhoads. He was a huge part of my life. Only 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. Well, yeah, I do. I have always loved Richie Blackmore. Who else has ever gone from hard rock to minstrel rock like him?
Who else wanted to?
Nobody. and justly so. Nobody. No, but I
wonder why he meets this blonde girl that's 40 years younger than him, with the push-up bra, the bustier, and she's like, "We should do songs like minstrels." He's like, "Yeah, let's do that.
I'll do whatever you say."
If I was going to fill in a third one, I've always loved
whatever it's going to take you to get stuck in the dryer. That's the kind of music we're going to do.
Those would be my 3. Yeah.
All right, hold on.
And Gilmore, I could swap out with Tony Iommi.
Well, everyone knows I'm a big Richie Kotzen fan.
You guys know this one? Man. Alex, you know this song?
I actually know that one.
You know it?
Yeah, Pretty Young Man.
Huh?
Is that the Smiths? That's Johnny Marr. Yeah, it's is it Pretty Young Man?
No, it's This Charming Man.
This Charming Man. That's
it.
I know I heard it.
Punctured by what is it?
Some good choices in chat.
What is it?
I said there's some good choices in chat. Elroy has EVH, Eddie Van Halen, Hendrix, and Gilmore. Headstock Hammer's got Lukather is great. Eddie Van Halen, Red Beach.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, naming the top 3 that can change.
But people are so like when you say your top 3, it's your favorites.
Yeah.
Because what are we going to sit there and say, like, Well, let's take a look here. Hold on, I got the sheet. We have the criteria here. Now, let me just break this out here where tone.
But people still argue like
It's so subjective.
People still
It's like,
argue like
Mine will change. I mean,
What do you say, people
Todson's
argue?
usually up there. But
Mine
people-
change.
Jason Becker.
You could ask me 5 minutes from now who my favorite is. It'll be different from 10
Yeah.
minutes from now.
Yeah.
it's what I'm listening to at the moment.
Yeah.
Larry
Yeah,
Moore,
totally.
Eric Johnson.
I like some of the country guys. I'm a big Steve Wariner fan, so he's one of my favorites. And there's so many
Tommy
great ones. So
Emmanuel. I've seen
the
him
other
a couple
day,
times.
I'm watching on YouTube. I went down the Paul McCartney rabbit hole, and all of a sudden it came up that it was John Lennon and Paul Simon giving out the Grammy Award for Female Song of the Year, whatever it was. It was the 11th annual. It was from March. It was from March 1st of 1975. And it was funny because at one point Art Garfunkel walks up to this, and he's there. And he says, "I thought I told you to wait in the car," because he accepted the award. He accepted the award for whoever won the award. But when he says, "I thought I told you to wait in the car," I was crying. But 1975 March, which is the best songs of 1974. "Don't Let the Sun Go Down on Me," Elton John. Maria Muldaur.
Midnight at the Oasis.
Midnight at the Oasis. "Help Me" from Joni Mitchell. And what's the one I'm missing? "Feel Like Making Love," Roberta Flack. I couldn't believe how many great songs I can't name 5 great songs in the last 5 years.
You like Maria Muldaur's Midnight at the Oasis?
No, but you know what? The song was a big hit. Lenny Waronker produced it, and I love the fact that he was the one that helped produce Ricky Lee Jones. But yeah, would I put the Smiths in the new wave category?
No,
Not
alternative.
really. I don't know. They were out of Manchester in like 84.
Alternative. That's what they used to.
They were a big fan of Sparks. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the band Sparks. Anybody?
Yep.
Alex? I urge you to watch the documentary on Netflix on Sparks, the brothers Sparks. It's two brothers.
My buddy told me about that.
It's great. And those guys, you ever see a movie called Valley Girl?
Not familiar.
Yeah.
No, I know we have, guys. I mean, we were like, you know what I mean? It's a
Nick
coming of
Cage's
age movie
first
for our
movie,
generation.
basically. Nicolas Cage's first movie.
Yeah.
After Fast Times, where he had a bit.
It's his first movie as Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
In Fast
Nicolas
Times, he
Coppola.
was credited as Nicolas Coppola. Little trivia for you folks.
Mm-hmm.
But oh, hey, thanks, Sandman. He said he learned this town ain't it's great, Hugh. I love that. This town ain't big enough for the both of us. That's Morrissey's favorite record, "Come On to My House" by Sparks. Plimsolls are awesome too. I saw the Plimsolls live in '95. Peter Case, great band. That would be a band you should check out, Alex, because they have that. It's a lot of that jangly stuff that you would like. The Plimsolls.
Okay, yeah.
They had a song called "A Million Miles Away." Were you an XTC fan too, or no?
No.
It seems like it would be. It's funny. It's like when you see younger generation listeners, you could easily because of what you liked from my generation as being the Smiths and just Johnny Marr's style of playing guitar. There's like you probably heard the song before, "The Mayor of Simpleton." Please be upstanding for the mayor. You know that song. Never seen a university or had a degree. And I love that song. His lyric, or I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 senses working overtime. And Dear God.
Yeah.
Dear God.
That's the one most people know. But I mean,
But
I
Dear
like
God.
Mary Simpleton better.
Oh, I do too.
Well, it was Bella, Peter Pumpkinhead, too.
Oh, yeah.
So-
That's right. Yeah. You're right. First saw them in Valley Girl. All right.
Waiting
Alex, so
for
you
Netflix.
look like you're looking at your watch. Do you have to roll? You're getting close to the time?
Nope. This is all I do. His
okay.
pedals, and
I just didn't want to feel like we're keeping you because we now go into a nonsensical music talk.
no, it's fine.
Okay, good. Salmon
Like
says he
Richard
first
Gere
saw
in
the.
Officer and Gentleman. I got nowhere else to go.
I'm
Quick,
going
remember
to
that?
make love to my what? Was that Homer Simpson? One of the first.
Oh
They
yeah,
did the
and
Officer
I
and
won't be
Gentleman.
back for 3 minutes.
Yeah. Oldest story in the world. Reminds me, you got to watch I haven't watched the Beatles documentary, but I've been watching a lot of Paul McCartney interviews. Very interesting. Very interesting. You know, he says he thinks his favorite Beatles album, if he had to pick one, but he doesn't like to pick one, he said it probably would be Sgt. Pepper, but he looks at them all as the same. And I have to say, how the hell can you pick Sgt. Pepper over Revolver?
Exactly.
Or
I mean, like
Rubber Soul.
It's always close between Revolver and Abbey Road. Warming.
Or Shabby Road.
Shabby Road.
That's the Ruddles.
Easton has
All you need is
an
cash.
Abbey Road.
It does?
Yeah, it's off Penny Lane.
You're being serious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's up off Pequannock,
I don't know it.
which is right near Bay Road.
Oh, okay. I know
Yeah.
Bay Road.
Yeah, Bay Road touches Pequannock, and there's I think they did a smart decision making Abbey Road off the street. You can't see it, and Penny Lane is on the street, so you could see it. So I feel like more people would take Abbey Road.
Penny Lane. How about I was saying the other day, when Wings was together, the guitar player was Denny Lane. How the hell could Paul McCartney not constantly be singing Denny Lane to him? Denny Lane, you're in my ear. I'd be driving that guy nuts just on purpose.
Well, with Lawrence Juber, he could have been singing "Goo Goo Goo Juber."
You had to ruin it. Huh?
I think that's good on short notice, Dave. There's no crickets on that one.
Hold on. When did Juba join the band? Was it 78 or 70? He was on for one record, Back to the Egg. Back to the Egg, and then he was canned when he went and did McCartney 2 for 1980. Denny Crane. That's funny head stock. What is your amplifier of choice that you play, Alex?
I'm a big Supro fan.
Oh, okay.
So
you really are a hipster.
I've got an AC30 and
nothing out of Joe, huh?
What?
I'm doing material for you, Joe, and you're sleeping on the job.
You knocked me out with the
As
coffee.
usual.
You know, I'm just still, I'm really thinking I got one more cup left in that pot.
It's good, isn't it?
It is fucking great. It's amazing.
Yeah. That you can buy it online. You can get it.
I saved the link. Oh, trust me, I saved that.
And they have it. You can get it in big. You can get the big. Don't look at the price or any of that stuff. Call them because they'll sell you the big bag.
Oh, really? I didn't see that. I was looking for that.
No, ground or unground. No, they distribute to restaurants. You just call them up.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
It was supposed to be Plastic Soul. Oh, really? I miss my coffee. Yeah, okay, so it was a Supro. Which one is it? Is it the
I've got a G6150. It's the little 8-inch speaker. It's the Stairway to Heaven solo amp.
Right.
And Zeppelin 1. So yeah, I've always liked small little, like, for my personal style of gain, we always talk about like low gain. People like British, they like American, they like 5150, like big cranked amp stuff. I've always liked the Supro sound, like the fall apart sound, like the amps struggling to keep up with you type of thing. And also, after I saw Brendan Benson played in the Raconteurs, he plays a Supro, and Jack plays a Twin 12. It's a similar type of vibe. I've always liked the small little amps, like where I could really like kind of push them instead of the big wattage amps. But yeah, I'd probably go anything Supro does I really like, and I've also got an AC30, which I like as well.
Oh yeah. I actually always prefer the 15 over the 30 because you can push it without killing people.
Yeah,
ears.
I used to run my AC30 when I played in a band, like where I would have an ABY, so I could actually turn on the top boost channel or off. So almost treating that like a gain channel as well.
Oh, I see. Nice.
You know, I've always liked those amps. I always thought I was going to be a Fender person. Then I went to the store in New York and I came out like, man, I really like the AC30. I actually think it's clean. It's better than Fenders.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the Fender. For me, I've always been a Fender guy. I had a guy on 2 weeks ago, Ricky Hayes, who's from Vintage Sound Amps, and he makes a hand-wired Princeton with a 112-inch speaker and 20 watts, and I think it's one of the best sounding clean amps. You know, but Fender cleans are really not clean. You know, people always think they're clean. You want a clean amp? Get a Roland Jazz Chorus. That's a clean amp.
Yeah, right. I think Knopfler played one of those for a while.
What's that? The Jazz Chorus?
Yeah.
Oh, everybody did in the 80s. That thing was, you couldn't hear, you don't hear a record without it on something. And it was the back line of everything back then.
Totally.
They used to wheel those things out. Oh, they were everywhere. Great sound, though.
Yeah, that's a good amp. We have actually one of the little ones that they did, like the JC22, I think, or like the small little ones. We got one. Yeah. We needed a stereo amp when we were testing triple graph for the octave down and octave up being like separate, and we got the little Jazz Chorus. They're fun.
Oh, that is funny.
Well,
I have the 40-watt one right here.
Yeah. What was it? The JC40 and the JC20 they came out with not too long ago?
Yeah, that's the 40.
Because what is the original one? JC80? Is that what it was?
120.
JC120. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's huge. Yeah. It was 120. Then they had the 90 and then the 60. And I think they may have never done a 40. I have a history of them somewhere. I think I did a video once on the history of them, but they're fun and great clean. I mean, that glassy clean, but like people think, oh, Fender's so glassy. Now the hell it is. You want a Fender to sound clean? Yeah. Make sure you have a compressor. Make sure you have some type of a clean treble boost so you can go in, because you got to go. You go in with an ice pick and it sounds clean. But comparatively to the Jazz Chorus, I don't really think it's that clean either.
Yellow Lead Better by Pearl Jam. That was a JC120.
Oh, it was? That was like that Hendrixy sounding tune, right? Yeah. Jan is saying a Princeton. The Beast of Bray Road. I don't get it.
Well, you said Bay Road, so remind me some paranormal bullshit I watched.
Let
me ask an amp question for the amp people, because I never had a tube amp, and I'm still looking for that day when I'll finally have one. There's an amp out, it's a 10-watt amp. They came out with two versions. One's got 6L6s and one's got the EL84s. Why? What's the difference?
It's a number. Just play it.
Yeah. Honestly, I like 6L6s because it's a more efficient tube.
But at the end of the day, does it fucking matter for what type of music you're playing?
No.
I think it's as good as the counterparts of the things around it and how efficient the amp's going to be as well, and who's making it and the voicing and what they do. Generally, you see 6L6 for higher wattage American, 6V6 for lower wattage American, and you see EL84s for your British stuff.
Right.
It's all about how it ultimately you take any 6L6 or any, you run current through it. And it's like, if you compare 6L6s, they're all going to sound the same. It just depends on whether they can handle the current or not. Because I had Sovtex when I had those in my PV Triple X. And I went to bias.
Answering his question, though. The question is that the tubes run very differently, though. A 6L6
it's a different circuit that runs the EL84.
Yeah. But because they're selling it like for those who like this tone, we have the 6L6, and those who like the heavier.
They say the EL34s are more mid-rangey and 6L6 is more.
Well, I like a 6V6 amp, but I don't know that I would know the difference if you ended up blindfolding me, to tell you the truth.
I think it also comes down to how it's connected to, right? I'm not an amp builder, but like like a pentode and all that type of stuff, like how it's actually connected and all that stuff in the valve.
That's the tube. That's that's what I'm saying. The 6L6 is The best thing is Uncle Doug has a video that tells you about all the tubes and what they do. I don't think they're going to tell you. I don't think he tells you that it changes the tone. He just tells you the efficiency of the tube. And he does say the 6L6 and 6V6 is a more efficient tube than the EL84 and 34s. But does that mean the tone's going to change? No. Generally, British amps use EL34s and 84s. I think just because at the time in the 60s when all those amps were being made, they were more accessible.
That's what they had.
That's what they, and in America, we had 6L6s, so that's what they had here.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so that's why Leo Fender used those.
I often go back to the whole, like, the JTM 45. That's a Fender Bassman, essentially.
Yes.
A clone, only it's with all of their parts, and then you can see the differences,
Yeah, you
together.
can mod them, too. You can mod, if you find a 59 Bassman, there's like a mod you can do and make it almost exact. Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's the components of how stuff's put together. Not all amps with this many watts have this many this much volume, because they're not all equal. But yeah, I think it comes down to the philosophy of whatever moves you, whatever inspires you. Don't worry.
I don't think you need a tube amp though, Joe.
Yeah,
it's a lot of it's.
That katana you have.
I can put a microphone on Michael and just put out my own doom metal. Here's my singer over there. If you hear screaming,
great.
It's Michael.
I think with tubes, it's more about the feel, not the sound, how it feels when you play it, because there's a little sponginess, a little lag. And the katana approximates that pretty well. I was very surprised.
Oh, yeah. That it does.
I got to tell you, the more gigs that I keep doing, the more I realize I'm not even listening to the amp. I'm just fucking. When I practice at home, I don't even plug in. And when I'm at a gig, I'm not even. I mean, I hear the amp and I'm like, but I don't feel it. I'm not respond. I'm dead. I'm dead inside, folks. I've completely lost my way.
Yeah. You notice you warm up with the amp before a gig. It's during sound check, and you say, "Oh, that sounds good." That's how when the music's playing. To my ears, they all, no matter what amp I have, always sounds like shit when I'm playing.
Well, there was an old, George Lynch, who I'm not a big fan of, had always one of my favorite quotes when they asked him, "What's your favorite rig you've ever heard?" And he said, "Everybody's but mine."
That's a good, because I've sold amps before. Like I had this Valve State or whatever like that. Marshall. I said, that sounds pretty good, but and then I sold it to a guy who was trying it out, and I said, well, that sounds pretty damn good. It didn't sound that good when I was playing. So I think it's all some sort of perception.
Well, I think a lot of times when people play with bands, and I've said this many times on my channel before, and you can actually ask Jerry, he can attest to this. People will come up to me and say, if I'm playing before we start, is your tone going to be that bright? Because I have a bright tone. And I'm like, yeah, I want to cut through the mix, and I don't want to play it. It works in the mix. As soon as the band starts, they're like, that sounded just like the record. Yeah, I get it. But a lot of people, they sit and play and they make it sound how they want to hear it sound, what they think it sounds in their ears. And then they play, and then the band starts playing, and it's a fucking war zone because the guys on the bass play his frequency, the keyboard players on that frequency, and everyone's fighting for sound. But if you go look on YouTube and go listen to any band and say isolated guitar part, it's going to sound thin as piss.
Oh, yeah. Listen to Welcome to the Jungle, isolated guitar part.
Yeah, thin, bright, and just completely. And that's, if you go play in a band and you're playing at a club, you don't want to sit there and be like, it's like a lot of times guys play, like these guys play arenas and, they're playing, they got the stage volume kind of loud, but they're all mic'd, and those guys are EQing that fucking sound. They have no idea what's coming out of to the audience. They're behind this PA. You know what I mean?
Well, let me tell you why I asked the question, because the amp company Black Star, they came out with a studio. It's called the Studio 10, but one's got the 6L6, one's got EL34s. I'm like, well, why?
Yeah,
British versus American flavor.
Is that it?
I think that might be the quickest answer I would give.
Yeah. And let me just say this. The dual rectifier, when you first got it, the big thing about that was you could just switch the bias thing on the back and put EL34s in it if you wanted EL34s in it. And then what was the amp they came out with, which was basically a dual rectifier with EL34s? What was that one called?
Oh, what, Lone Star?
No. It was another big amp, like Bingham had one.
Oh, Christ.
Anybody in the chat? What was the name of that Mesa amp that came with EL34s? Wait, where the hell's Bingham? What is wrong?
Was
with
it one
this
of
guy?
was it one of the Marks, like the Mark 1, Mark?
No.
like
The
that?
Marks were the
I
earlier.
could have sworn it'd be the Lone Star, but it's like
No.
Road King.
No. Keep going. Begins with a T.
Oh, the
Transatlantic.
It wasn't the
it was
transatlantic.
something like
Hold
that.
on.
It was like Transatlantic or something like that.
Mesa amp with EL. I'm just gonna put it in Google. EL34s. Let's see what Google says.
Google says you can't afford it.
Google says try again later. All right. Imagine if Google started working like the fucking old 8-ball. You should
Ask again later.
ask again.
I got one, and I actually got two. I got the regular 8-ball and the Southern version.
You do?
Yes.
Hold on. What's the Southern version?
There was a Magic 8-ball put out by the what do they call it's a Southern thing, so it has like
See, Badlander,
all that
Triple
shit.
Crown.
Was it a Triple Crown?
Could be.
They did have a triple rack, right?
No, the Triple Rec was
They make a
just
Triple Crown.
the Triple Rec was the 150 watt. Let me see if it was the Triple Crown. No, wasn't that. I can't believe I'm blanking on the name. Did anyone in the chat put it in yet?
Haven't seen it. I wish I knew more about Mesa.
TC100.
No.
That's a Triple Crown. Mark V. Let's see.
Mesa Transatlantic.
Bingham had one and then sold it. Remember?
Sandman says Mesa Transatlantic. Is that
That's
it?
the one I was thinking of.
No. I'm gonna go get my coffee.
It's the Triple Crown.
You fight over it. I'm getting that last cup before it gets cooked in the fucking.
Go ahead. Go get
the
your
hot
coffee.
plate.
I think it's the Triple Crown. It looks like it from the front.
Yeah, because the Subway series.
Yeah, 4 EL34s.
The Titan.
Mm-mm.
No, okay, must be Triple Crown then.
Yeah, Bingham had one.
I actually did when I was in Petaluma, I did a tour of the Mesa factory. It was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Oh, it's crazy, I'm sure.
They brought us to the room where they created like the dual rack and all that stuff.
Yeah.
This guy, like their mad scientist there that had like a whole room in the middle of the shop. The whole thing, if you ever get a chance to tour it, it's amazing. The whole assembly is done on a roller coaster. So they'll have the chassis there. There's a circuit board. They do dipped style solder, and it flows through upside down.
Right.
Wave solder.
Yeah, wave solder. And it's done upside down. Like they do all this cool stuff. The chassis itself is on a roller coaster, and the roller coaster has these bars that go all the way through the entire shop to the different testing facilities where it's soldered. Then it gets roller coaster down for more inspection until it actually gets put into an amp. And I think there's 3 testings done. There's like a loud room where you close this, like Bruce Wayne's going to close the door for something type of thing. And they test it there. They have multiple things on, and then it keeps going on like a roller coaster the whole way. It's so cool. They have I believe it's some type of machine. There was so much to take in, with a little bit of a sensory overload. But at the beginning, their parts, like their caps and resistors, come in on tape style, like reels where you would feed them in. And I'm pretty sure it measures to make sure stuff was within spec. Otherwise, it throws it out like the bad egg in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory type of thing. It's just like the whole process is just amazing.
That's wild. Those wouldn't that come out the 90, 91? That's in there. Mesa. Here's another company that started off modeling, well, basically a Bassman. I know people will tell you it's a Princeton, but it's just the shell of the Princeton. The amp was a Bassman. The original Boogie.
Yeah.
The one that they gave to
Carlos
what's
Santana.
his Carlos Santana, right?
Yeah,
was
right.
a Bassman's basically a Bassman circuit inside of a Princeton body.
They didn't call it Boogie until Santana played it, though.
Right. They didn't have a name for it yet. I don't even think they had come out with it, right? There was just
I think the folklore I heard was when they gave it to Carlos, he said this amp really boogies.
Yeah.
Something like that. But yeah, the Mesa stuff's really cool. And their shop is just, if you ever get a chance in Petaluma to see it.
Yeah.
They're right there. Well, they had moved. They're in the same park as Lagunitas when they started.
Not familiar with them.
That's an alcohol company.
Oh, okay.
Lagunitas.
And Joe's back. How's your coffee? You get nice and full?
Just round 3.
Okay. It makes 3 of these, so I'm happy.
Nice.
One bag will make 2 full pots, which makes
great.
3 of those. So that's
Now,
good.
Joe, you can drink that this late at night and get to sleep. No problem.
I'm trying to fucking stay awake.
He's going to be up all night.
I'll be
Back
up
when I
all
was a
night. I'm off
caffeine
tomorrow.
junkie, I used to be able to drink a bunch of coffee and sleep like a baby still.
Now, is Hugh Caldwell still in the chat? Because I was going to bring in Hugh real quick to...
Power training, but bring him in if he's here.
What happened?
He's power training. He's walking 1,000 miles in 2 days. Leave the man alone.
If Hugh only knew of our Las Vegas odds booking that we're doing, Joe. Hugh is one of the guys that comes on the show every now and then, Alex, and he is claiming, and I use the term claiming very loosely, that in a few months, I think June maybe, he is going on a 5-day walk of how many? 100 miles?
I thought it was 300 miles in 3 days.
I think it's 5
Oh, no,
days.
it's 5 days. Yes.
It's 20 miles a day he's going to walk.
Run, Forrest, run.
Currently, he's struggling to walk to the fridge.
Oh, God.
I'm teasing.
We just say we love you.
We do love
We
you.
fucking
I want to
love
bring
you.
him on. I just want to see if he's
Get
still
him
here,
in
and I'll
here.
throw him an email.
Yo, where are you?
I think
Yeah, we're laying odds. Like if the sun shines brightly, Hugh goes up in dust like a vampire.
I want to know, will there be a shillelagh involved? Will he need the giant walking stick? Oh, okay. He does have his album, though. All right. Very good, Hugh. Hang tight. He can't come on camera.
Why not?
It's past midnight there, and he's a werewolf.
he's stuck.
Oh, he was putting together a fucking coffee table from IKEA. He's a little stuck.
He's stuck.
A little stuck.
His hair is caught in the oven.
Oh.
I don't know what the hell that was. You
Two
said,
of them.
Joe.
2 of them in the fucking.
Yeah, two in the oven. Christ.
You know, do an instrumental. Call it 2 in the oven, please, Dave. I almost died when that's why I had to send that to you. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. The sad part was I was already well aware of it.
No. Oh, fuck. 2 in the
Oh,
oven.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right. So, gentlemen, we discussed last week about an album that from, what did I get? What was the parameters from 1980?
1980
He said
to
1980
2000.
to 2000.
Okay.
He said a metal album.
A heavy metal album that you think the other guys don't know well, that should give it a listen.
Mm-hmm.
It was my
Okay.
idea, and I completely forgot about it.
So, after we say the albums that we're going to listen to, we also have to pick an album for next week. Oh no, that's for next week.
Like a genre for next
So
week.
no, we pick I'll pick a genre for next week, and then next week we have to discuss all 4 albums in the last hour. All right, so Hugh Caldwell, would you like to start? Kick us off with something from Glasgow, Scotland. By the way, Alex, you probably are not aware of the greatest band ever from Glasgow, Scotland. This here is a poster of the album. The band is the Blue Nile. The album is Hats, and it's one of the greatest. If you like electronica, it's like, I don't know if you'd say electronica. I don't know how you would call it. It's fantastic. Do you ever hear Roxy Music, Avalon album?
No, not familiar. Also, it's like 5 a.m. in Glasgow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a night
Oh, it's
owl.
5:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hugh doesn't go to sleep. I told you he's a werewolf. In the morning when it comes up and he starts to, when he goes back to.
Hey, Dave, does he sing I Just Want to Stop? Too?
I was just going to say, when he loses his Gino Vanelli locks.
He's going to wake up on some stranger's floor with like ripped pants. Is that what happens with the werewolves? Yet they were naked when they were the wolf, but then somehow when they come back to human form, they have ripped clothes or something like that.
Right. Well, I was wondered about like, how come Bill Bixby's jeans filled Lou Ferrigno fit them?
Yeah.
In fact, let me ask our sponsor.
The Incredible Hulk will not be presented this evening.
Well, I guess that settles that.
But that was like there was a Beavis and Butthead comic book that Marvel put out that was just as funny as the show. And
Sabotage, Hall of the Mountain King. I don't know.
Good album.
that is a good idea. I know that one.
Hold on, my brother is just plugging in. He says, Roxy Music is the new romanticism. What the hell's he saying? I don't get it, RL. Anyways, I was saying, if you knew Roxy Music, you would know what I mean. It's like late night chill music. That's the genre. But the Blue Nile Hats is an album you should check out.
Yeah, great metal album.
Yeah, RL, but they came out like 10 years before
game.
Duran Duran. They've been around in the 70s. In fact, speaking of Roxy Music, it was Chic. You know the band Chic? They came to England and saw Roxy Music playing in three-piece suits and was like, "That's what we should do." And that's why Chic always had the suits.
I never heard that.
Right, so the name of the album, guys, is Sabotage is the band, which I've never heard of. And somebody write these. Krell, will you write these down so we can get them all in an email?
Yeah,
so I can know what the hell I have to.
Yeah.
You said Hall of the Mountain King.
I'm very familiar with that album.
Hugh, you realize when we discuss the albums next week, you have to be on to do that. So whatever you got to do, shave, put on your
He should just come in with bandages and sunglasses like the Invisible Man.
yeah, that'd be excellent.
Fucking great.
A friend
Yeah,
a friend I went to school with actually plays drums for John Oliver's Pain, the lead singer from Sabotage.
Oh, you mentioned people's names like I never even heard of the band before. You're saying naming band members like we should know who they are.
From Sabotage.
I could tell you right now, Alex has no idea who the hell Sabotage is. Exactly, Joe.
You know,
what is your record of
man.
You should have so many, especially being into sleep and all those.
But
Yeah, I actually
I
have
know
two.
the group, but I don't really know the album I want. So I'm just going to pick one blind. I'm going with a group that called Mama's Boys, and I'm going to pick "Turn It Up" from 1983.
Okay, I know the group, but I don't know the album.
If this record turns me gay, so help me God. Okay.
No, they had a single that was in the top 50. The same year that Quiet Riot came out with Mama Rock, they came out with that as well. It was like they got fucked. But they were the three-man band. The brother was on bass, brother on guitar, and three brothers in the band.
What's the name of the album?
Turn It Up
All right.
from 1983.
Okay.
Go ahead, Krellbar. I'm sure you want to go
People
before
in the
me.
chat might not be surprised I've mentioned this band before, but I mean, you probably haven't. It's a band called Watchtower. The second album, Control and Resistance, came in
Excellent.
1989. They were a big
Never heard it.
influence on Dream Theater. And also, I forget the guy's name, Titch. Well, anyways, the singer on the second album. The original singer on the first album.
Are they Australian?
No, wait.
No,
that.
they're United States. The first album,
United States.
the lead singer was Jason McMaster, and name doesn't make. You ever hear that band Dangerous Toys?
Yeah,
Yes.
I've heard of the band, but
Yeah, he ended up singing for them. And but anyways, yeah, it's Watchtower, Control and Resistance.
all right, write that
Real
down.
good
Because you have to
melody.
email me these because I have no idea. All right, and the
I
last
was
one
gonna
will be
say, Dave, you need to email. Someone email somebody to fucking,
the list. Yeah. Well, Crowbow's writing them down, right?
Control and Resistance. Yeah, what I'll do is I'll email Dave, and Dave can.
All right.
Yeah.
So the last one
he's
for
gonna
me
type the fucking list to the cat's
is
collar
I think
and send
everyone
that
should
out.
know the album Blind by Corrosion of Conformity.
I know the album. I just have to listen to it.
I know the band, but I don't think I've ever
You'll
listened
see.
to the album.
You will love this record, Joe. Yeah, I don't know Sabotage.
Yeah, they
Is
had
Sabotage the one that
Trans-Siberian
sings that?
Orchestra. is
I always
based
get
on
Sabotage confused with Savage Garden.
What was that?
That's a
Friggin'
coffee. I think
mundane
that coffee
song
would
they
taste
had.
good black. I'm not even joking.
I only drink it black. In
Mitchell.
fact, this little girl, I asked her if she wanted how she likes her coffee. She said, "It's my airplane joke." Remember an airplane?
Yeah. Mitchell.
No, airplane. When the waitress asked, like, "How do you like your coffee?" to the little girl, she goes, "Like my men, black."
Because I only have to listen to 2 albums this week. I have to listen to COC and Mama's Boys. Because
Oh, you know the Sabotage? You know Sabotage?
I know Sabotage, Hall of
Let me ask you this,
Well,
Alex. Do you know any of the albums that were being mentioned today?
Well, someone in chat, but the album he put was from 2020, so that's out.
Who?
Who was it that said that? Sandman
Yeah, no.
said Spirit Adrift, Enlighten, and Eternity, but it's listed as coming out in 2020.
Could have been a reissue.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
No, and for anyone who wants to delve into it, this isn't on the list. I had 2 choices actually. There was a group called
But here's the whole point. The whole point that don't tell about your other choice. The whole point is let's see who likes it. If people in the chat, when they listen to these 4 albums, when we come back to discuss the 4 albums next week, if someone's like, "That was amazing,"
I'll do that right now.
Then somebody will say, "You're going to put them in the chat right now?"
I'm going to put it in the chat.
Yeah, because then somebody would say, "Oh, Krell, I love that album. What was the other album you were going to recommend?" But instead, you just muddy the water with
What was the name of the Corrosion of Conformity?
Blind. I'll email it to you. You don't have to. I'll email
I'll
it to
put it
you.
in the chat for everybody.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
doing it. I'm doing it.
All right. Well, then go ahead.
I mean, I have it written down, so
Yeah. Blind is like it was the last album with their singer that they ended up going with the guitar player taking over vocals, and they became a bigger band with the guitar player singing. I hate the guitar player singing. The other singer, it was so much angrier and better. Yes, so there's 4 albums to listen to, and then we come back and we discuss the records. The funny thing is and I say funny, but I don't mean funny. But
What was Crowbar's album?
Watchtower, Control and Resistance.
Watchtower, Control and Resistance we're listening to these 30 years later, so we have no idea. You know what I mean? It's not like we're hearing it for the first time. So I don't know if it puts us at a disadvantage or an advantage, but it is what it is.
Mama's Boys is closer to 40 years. It's 1 year off.
Maybe 3. Yeah.
But yeah, I've never heard Watchtower. Never heard the band's name before. Sabotage. Did you write Sabotage? Hall of the Mountain King.
I didn't.
Now, Hall of the Mountain King was that was what the Grieg, Richard Grieg, wasn't it?
They do a cover of that on the album too.
Oh Christ!
It's like no, what they do is they have an orchestra playing it and then the guitar player.
It's fucking Inspector Gadget.
Oh, this is far before Inspector Gadget.
Well, I know Inspector Gadget ripped off in the Hall of the Mountain King, but I didn't. Right? It's actually a swung version. Somebody was like, "Let's swing in the Hall of the Mountain King," so it was right. And the original is square. It's
like how the Star Wars theme is actually Born Free backwards.
2 girls, 1 oven.
Born Free.
Oh, it's the silliest premise ever. So last week, Alex, because in case you're just wondering what was going on, somehow I made a joke about how the big thing on the internet was the stepmom adult material.
Mm-hmm.
And it's everywhere. And then Joe brought up the fact that there's these videos where these people get stuck all the time. Like the girl, like the mom is making the bed, her arm gets stuck in the bed.
Yeah.
Then the stepson comes in and they start playing Havenu Shalom Aleichem. Havenu Shalom.
Big Jim Slade.
Exactly. How to bring in the Kentucky Fried Movie in it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever see the Kentucky Fried Movie? Anybody?
Yes.
The
Yeah,
Zucker
long
Brothers.
time ago.
Oh, yeah. Classic.
Fish for dinner last night. The second woman walks in. Harvey still smoking those cigars? The third woman walks in. What, did a cow take a shit in here?
Are you aware of the penal codes in this state?
It's good stuff.
Take me to your leader.
The production on Sabotage. All right, I'm going to check it out. Hugh, is Sabotage the members of Trans-Siberian? Because Trans-Siberian, I will tell you right now, I am not a fan of. However,
Yeah, well, if you
I go in with an open mind because I hate holiday music. There's like 2 holiday albums I can stomach. Well, maybe 3. Frank Sinatra's Christmas from 1957, Vince Guaraldi's Charlie Brown Christmas, and George Winston's December. Other than that, I'm out.
Alex, any relation?
No.
Because the
I
only
like
time
Nat
I've ever
King
seen
Cole,
the name
Christmas song.
Guaraldi was you and Vince Guaraldi. I've never seen the name ever before.
Yeah, it's not really a super common name.
Yeah.
Where did Krellball just go?
He was asking me if he was related to Vince Guaraldi.
Oh my god! Give me. Let's talk sports news because I don't watch shit. Who won what?
I don't watch sports.
Tampa Bay won the first game today, 31.
No,
to
last
15.
night. I do know the Bills were playing.
The Bills killed the Patriots.
It was the fourth quarter, and it was like 40 to something. I'm like, oh shit! What did
Bills
it
killed the Patriots?
What did it end up being?
The score?
Yeah,
47 to 17.
Oof.
Jesus Christ!
And then
that's the biggest shellacking they took from.
And then San Francisco beat Dallas today.
Oh, really? Okay.
And the night game, when I stopped watching at the half, but somebody know the score of the night game tonight? It was Pittsburgh was down to the Chiefs. And what happened with the Kansas City game?
I'm going to guess Kansas City won.
So next week we got 4 more teams going, and then,
no, you got another game tomorrow night. You got Monday night. You got the Rams. You got the Rams going against.
I mean, is this the start
Falcons.
of the playoffs or the end?
Yeah,
right now?
Yeah. This is the first week.
Okay.
42 to 21. Chiefs beat the Steelers.
Steelers are out. Good. Although the Chiefs are going to be a tough team. I want the Super Bowl this year to be Tampa Bay and Buffalo. That's my Super Bowl pick.
And who would you want to win that?
Tampa Bay. However, I want Brady to win his 8th ring.
All right.
However, I would not be disappointed if Buffalo won.
All right.
As you will hear from a excitable Howie Simon next week.
Yeah, from 1990 and 93, the 4 Super Bowl losses in a row for Bills. That was pretty hard for those fans.
Fratelli's Restaurant?
Jim Crash Kelly.
Your feed was out of Boston? Let me see what Fratelli's is. Anyone know what Fratelli's is?
No.
Sounds like a pizza place.
No.
Oh, there's a Fratelli's in Worcester. That's why I thought.
What new pedals do you have in production? Get back to the pedal question.
Oh, it's on Broad Street.
Anything new coming out? We got to look forward to.
I'd say the big thing that we're going to be doing is, version 2 of the Telegraph I had mentioned for the kill switch, which we just to touch base on, we've got some new features for it, and we're actually using the hardware that I told you guys we were having made for Jack's pedal. So we're actually going to use this hardware because our original one, if you guys saw some pictures of the Telegraph, it's like for hand operation, but the new one's going to be for foot operation because it's going to be much more rugged, which was kind of surprisingly, a lot of people were really cool with, placing their Telegraph on their amp and stuff like that and messing around with their hand. But now that we have this hardware that we developed with Jack and them, we're going to have foot pedal board stuff again for Telegraphs, which we're really excited about.
Okay. That'd be cool.
I want a new fuzz.
We've got actually a fuzz in the works right now, too, which we don't really do much gain stuff, but we're definitely going to be doing some fuzz.
Okay.
Hugh Caldwell wants to know what your favorite episode of Canon is.
I know. Whatever episode it was where he's friggin' drying out the duck in the kitchen for his Asian duck dish.
Do you know what Canon is, Alex? Do you even know what Canon is?
No.
It was a cop detective show from the 70s that I love.
Uh-huh.
And that we'd always talk Canon, Columbo.
Okay. I know Columbo.
Yeah. Well, Canon's on Me TV at like 3 a.m.
Jeez.
So Hugh's up.
Well, for Hugh, I don't know what time Hugh. It's up there.
I don't think you would have Me TV over there.
Hugh, do you guys have? No, they don't have Me TV. Me TV's out of Chicago, I think. Rel, where's Me TV out of? My brother will message me. I think he knows the guys over there. Cannon, the detective. Oh, he runs Frank Cannon, but he doesn't run very fast.
It's gonna be the episode where Cannon trains for a 100-mile walk. It's a two-parter.
5 days, Hugh. Let me tell you, if you're going to be going through any amount of woods, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be a search party.
I could do a 100-millimeter walk.
He just got electric light. Yeah, 100-meter walk, exactly. Well, I tell you right now, the last week, I until I get my weight under 210, which was probably be in another week, I used to do doubles in the gym, so I've just been doing singles right now, but the most I'll do is 6 miles in the gym a day, 6.6. Mm-hmm. He's talking about doing 20 miles a day for 5 days.
Back and forth from the takeout.
Unless he takes a fucking hat with a stick on it, dangling a Twinkie in front of him, where he keeps walking, and that Twinkie is equidistant to him the whole way. There is no fucking
donut, suck out the jelly and fill it with chocolate swirl ice cream.
There is no way on God's green earth that guy is doing 100 miles in 5 days. I want to see. I want a GPS on that man. I have a feeling now this one is only going to be for the guys my age. I want to see if he pulls a Rosie Ruiz on us.
A what?
Oh,
Rosie Ruiz. Rosie Ruiz was it in the 80s? She did the Boston Marathon. She hopped on the
came out of nowhere and just made like
she hopped on the train half the race.
She jumped in the race friggin' right near the end.
Gets off the train and she's like, I'm in first.
And here's this flabby chick just friggin' win the Boston Marathon.
How long did it take them to figure out she was full of shit?
Not very long. They crowned her
commercial.
Within 20 minutes. It was like, wait, there's a controversy here.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that we're talking about him like 20 miles walking a day. These marathon runners do 26.2 in like 4 hours.
Yeah, but it's not 20 a day. It's 20 a day for 5 days.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not going to, what the heck?
That's a good amount.
Yeah.
Well, what's
I'm just saying.
The average person walks a mile in what, 15 minutes? about that?
Yeah.
If you hustle, you could do it in 10.
Right. So let's
you
say
could
an
easily
average 15.
Yeah.
It
There's
was
no
1980,
question.
Dave.
No, 19 was 80. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was no question you can do it. Question if it's feasible, but the thing is,
The
for
stamina
5 days straight, these guys, they're going to be camping.
No.
I want to know locations of where you're taking a dump because he's walking through the woods. There's not going to. This is like
No, this
is
is
it,
th-
he's
this
not
is
walking down the street where he can go use the restroom at a restaurant. He's out in the. He's in some. This is not a pretty picture. He'll be walking by. He'll be, you guys ever see on F Troop when Paul Lynn is the Mountie? Paul Lynn's the Mountie, and he says, by looking at a guy's campsite, I can tell you what direction they left, how fast they're moving, where they are, and what they're carrying with them. They're like, well, how come you haven't found the guy yet? He goes, I can't find his campsite. Oh, folks, the days of 70s mincing homosexuals, that was the good stuff.
The greatest stuff. Yeah. Paul Lynn.
So Liberace.
Charles Nelson Riley.
Oh, shit.
Liberace. Scott Thorson, everybody. Isn't he wonderful? Unbelievable. I just want to, look, someone's saying,
I mean, it's shaping up to be some Blair Witch bullshit. Q. Be careful.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're just busting with you. We love you.
The devil's already waiting on a rock for you to walk by. He's already got the contract inked up. It's waiting for you to walk by.
Fulton's Crossing, right? Haas?
I used to walk 16 miles a day long time ago.
Seriously?
Yeah. The
That's
best
a long
I ever
way to
did.
walk.
I did. I did an 8 mile in the morning. I did the same 8 mile route at night, and the best I ever did when I was in college, I did that, and I did 32 miles on the bike one day.
All right. Well, let's
I never even do that much on the bike.
All right, hold on. I know where Alex is, so I'm just going to take a look real quickly and see if from where I am. Let me just see how far. Could you imagine? Let's just say, you know where the Target is in on 139
In Stoughton?
Yep.
Yep.
That's about a mile from me. So now, let me just see if I do this.
If you're looking for a landmark near me, Doyle's Bar and Grill.
I'm just Doyle's. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, right, of course.
The old Crossroads.
Yeah. Let me just see something here. Where the hell am I? And where the hell was I? Okay, there it is. All right, so here. And now. How can I measure this fucking thing? What's it called? Doyle's?
Yeah.
Is it Tommy O'Doyle's?
Yeah.
Tommy Doyle's, I mean?
Yep.
All right. 14 miles. So you'd walk there to Target in Stoughton. Whew. That's a long walk, right? Now you've got 6 more miles to go. And then you got to do it and then you got to go back and forth for the next 5 days.
What on Google Maps, what does it say if you choose by walk? How long does it say?
Oh, I should have done that. Hold on, I gotta go back to it.
Command Shift T to open the tab.
It'll open it again.
The one that you just exited out of, you do Command Shift T or Control Shift.
I already opened the new tab. You're right. Hold on.
Yeah, and the thing is, once you start, you don't want to stop because it's hard to get started again.
Yeah, that's when you get really sore when you stop.
No, don't stop.
You bring a Camelback of that coffee that you like so much.
I'm not doing the walk. That's you when you're doing the fucking walk.
Yeah, but you said you used to do like 32-mile walks.
I was
Here's
long.
options.
No, I did 32 on the bike. I used
So where's the options for? Oh, here it is. Walking. 3.5 hours. No, 3 hours 4 minutes.
That's still not the
bike
20.
riding. It's like 16 to 20 miles.
No,
20
so if I bump it out to 20 miles, actually, that's only 9.2 miles. Walking, it's 9.2.
Probably because
so that's half. So you're looking at
138 most of the way.
So you're looking at 6.5, probably 6.5 hours of walking.
Maybe it's all downhill.
Yeah,
both ways.
I try not to walk more than an hour. I think past that, it's like on a hard surface, you're doing damage.
I want to know what you're carrying. It's 5 days. While you're doing this walk,
I didn't think about that.
You have to have a backpack on, right?
Yeah.
You got to put the toilet paper somewhere.
Usually have your bowling ball.
There's a huge shit in the woods.
That says Homer on it. That you bought for Marge. No, seriously, you're going to have a change of clothes. They're in Scotland, so you're going to have at least 5 pounds of haggis.
When I had to go, I went.
That better be shepherd's pie in my pants.
Oh God.
That's a crusty episode.
Well, hopefully he's not taking Indian food along with him. He's gonna have to go in the woods.
He loves Ruby's Takeaway. I tell you right now, Hugh, I would say if you said I got to walk to Hubie's Takeaway and back, I'd be like, dude, you do that. That is a 5-minute walk. It's hilarious.
I'll tell you right now, every time he stops and naps, he's gonna be fucking dreaming of a small town called Willoughby. Willoughby, next stop, Willoughby.
Next stop, Willoughby.
Willoughby was the name on the medical examiner that came to pick up the body.
You saying steam engines, telephones, postal box, television too. 24 miles from
That's
Long
a good
Beach.
question. What do you pack for a walk that long? Let's see. Like you said, shit paper.
You got to carry water.
Water, refillable water bottle.
Or you're going to have a canteen with you. Canteen boy.
Rub my chest, canteen boy.
So you're going to have some form of water, bottled water. There's like 5 guys doing it. I mean, how much? First of all, you say it was going to all be out in like the woods and not woods, but like through, over the river and through the woods. You got to have water. How much water can you bring? For a 5 days supply? You're going to walk with a 5 days supply?
Maybe they're doing it near water, so it's refillable.
Maybe.
And that's where you take
Water
your number
purified.
2s.
But if you're going right, exactly.
This we're not talking about hobbits in Middle Earth.
For that.
This isn't. We're not talking about hobbits in Middle Earth. This ain't the Fellowship of the Ring over there.
Well, the Loch Ness monster could be around.
Woods, yeah.
He's doing it. Look, we're getting you all fired up.
He's getting pissed.
He's doing it. All right, Hugh.
Just ask Nessie for a drink. Give it to you.
Hugh,
for $2.50.
you have a phone. I want that. I want the whole walk filmed. I want it filmed. We'll simulcast it.
We'll do a GoFundMe for a GoPro for you, so we can live.
Whatever you need, whatever equipment he needs, we will raise it,
And we'll put running,
including the vehicle.
We'll put running on Effie as a soundtrack to it.
Yeah.
All right, I just need 5 cases of water. Let me just put it up on the truck.
Yeah, the ATV.
I called the
You didn't think we
Uber.
were walking this.
Yeah.
What is Hugh saying? Hugh was saying that the Scots invented the telephone?
Yeah.
Is that true?
I don't know. He's been going on about who invented what.
Hold on. I'd like to see this. I'm gonna look some of this up.
Yeah,
I thought Alexander Graham Bell did, but I could be wrong. Who invented the telephone?
The Who? I don't think they did anything with some good music. They don't look like they're too sharp to invent shit.
Let's see.
Well, you got to think Europe was settled before America.
First telephone. A lot of controversy around the telephone. Alexander Graham Bell, blah, blah, blah. Antonio Meucci.
Yep, there's an Italian guy. I learned that from The Sopranos. When
To make
Tony Soprano says, Alexander Graham Bell is Antonio Lamucci. Whatever his name is. Don't forget that.
the U.S. patent awarded it to Bell. I don't know. Alexander Graham Bell was born in... He'll take his handy cam. Awesome. Alexander Graham Bell was born in Scotland? It's awesome.
Not surprising
Again,
because, I mean...
It doesn't... Hugh, you don't have to defend Scotland. First of all, Cocteau Twins, the Blue Nile. Game over. You win.
And the Loch Ness Monster.
We love Nessie. No, but Blue Nile and Cocteau Twins are easily my two of my favorites from the 80s and 90s and beyond.
Yeah, so much we made up one in the U.S. called Champy.
What?
Like Champlain Monster. Champy. Never heard
All right,
Champy?
No.
Saying that you is going to have trouble with the walk. How does that disparage Scotland? What are you, the pride of Scotland now?
Oh no, somebody else. It was him and Todd.
I mean, how many fucking times did Scotty save the whole enterprise? You're gold in my book.
I'm
I
giving
think
it all I
Scotty
got,
exaggerated
Captain.
how bad the
Right?
engines
How many
were.
times does Scotty get up in that fucking nacelle laying down?
I think he
He gets him out of
exaggerated
trouble.
the condition of the engines just to make himself seem more important.
Oh, he's a fake Scotsman. The actor was?
Patrick Doohan.
Yeah, but that's what actors do. They take a role and they roll.
Now,
with it.
Doohan is that a Scottish name or that almost sounds Irish?
Probably is Irish. What about Patrick McGowan?
Yeah, McGowan. Yeah,
I love McGowan. I watched
yeah.
that the other day too. Oddly enough, if anyone
The Prisoner?
cares. No, Columbo.
Oh,
James
anyone
Doohan was
ever
born in
pick-
Canada.
Anyone ever pick up on the irony in Escape from Alcatraz that they made Patrick McGowan the warden of Alcatraz when he was actually the prisoner in The Prisoner? I always
Right.
thought that was kind of ironic. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
I think he's been on the most number of Columbo episodes.
James Doohan. I'm sorry.
Patrick McGowan's been on
Yeah, I'm
most
saying
Columbos.
Patrick Doohan.
No,
because-
Patrick McGowan's from The Prisoner.
Yeah, Prisoner.
You said James Doohan, I thought.
Yeah, I probably did the first time. I think I mangled it the second time because I had the two names in my head.
All good. I love Johnny Kramer's spelling. Sean, that's Connery, I take it.
Where's this?
And Sean is spelled like SHAWN.
Maybe he's dictating into a phone and he's got a shitty phone.
Godspeed.
No, it is the last name how he spells Connery.
Yeah. It's everything. I think when he goes, I'll take swords. It's S words. It began with a bleeding S. No, he goes, what is
the
saber?
rapists.
That was it. What is saber? Sean, it's S words, not swords. It begins with a bloody S.
I'll take the tits now. That subject is let it snow, not let tits now. I always like the rapist. I'll take the rapist for 100, Alex. Therapists.
Yeah. Meanwhile, that skit, it's just a fucking Benny Hill joke from 100 years earlier.
Yeah, everything.
Benny, right? That's not in the road. What's that? No, what's that in the road? Ahead? No, it's what's that in the road ahead.
Now, why did James Bond take his martini shaken, not stirred? Because shaking it dilutes it. You're not supposed to shake a martini.
Because he had work to do. So he had to dilute that shit. He can't do that James Bond shit drunk. Come on.
No, he can do every impossible thing in the world except friggin' do the simplest thing with a buzz.
I gotta tell you right now, I'm gonna say something very unpopular.
Go ahead.
The Bond movies to me bore the living piss out of me.
Depends which one.
Yeah, it depends.
Oh my God. They're so uninteresting.
Live and Let Die's great. Come on. Yeah, for Kodo.
I do like Live and Let Mr.
What's the name of the guy
it's Roger Moore as Bond too.
I like Roger Moore. That was my Bond.
Really? Roger Moore?
Because that's how old I was.
Yeah, no, I know. He
was Connery.
I like Sean Connery, and I always think of Roger Moore as Simon Templar on The Saint. But
I mean, Roger Moore was good.
Both of them, you could if it was on and Columbo's on, I'm watching Columbo.
Oh yeah.
What about George Lazenby?
Who did that one? They're on their Majesty's Secret Service.
I grew up
I'm
with
not a Bond
Brosnan.
fan. What's that?
I always grew up with Brosnan.
Oh yeah, Tomorrow Never Knows.
That was good casting.
I think The World Is Not Enough. Tomorrow Never Dies. Is that? I think.
Oh, Tomorrow Never Dies. Wait, was that Pierce Brosnan or was that the other guy?
That was Timothy Dalton, I think.
I love Timothy Dalton.
He was good.
He did The Living Daylights and
that's it. Tomorrow.
Was it?
Timothy Dalton was in the movie Flash Gordon.
Yeah. Prince Baron.
And that's all you have to know.
That's all you needed to know.
He's
the
brilliant.
minute we saw Timothy Dalton as kids, we all said that's Tony Stark.
As well as Brian.
He would have been a perfect Tony Stark.
You're right. He would have been. He's also brilliant in Hot Fuzz.
Oh yeah, that's right. He was in there too.
Did you guys ever see Hot Fuzz? Simon Pegg.
The Cornetto trip.
Who did he play in that? I've only seen it once.
He's the main guy. The greater
good.
The greater good. The Living Daylights. GoldenEye. GoldenEye was
97. Brosnan.
Yeah. So what was it? Tomorrow Never Dies and The Living Daylights? Or Tomorrow Never?
Living Daylights was Timothy.
Brosnan was The World Is Not Enough, I think, as well.
There was two Timothy Dalton ones though, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Was he Moonraker? He wasn't.
No, Moonraker.
That was Roger Moore.
That was 79. Yeah. Saw that in the theater. Richard Keel. Yeah, Richard Keel's in that one. Wait, was it 79 or 81?
Oh, License to Kill. License to Kill. Living Daylights.
I swear, so many of the movies, they have like 7 or 8 words, like you see on the fridge when you're going to scramble those words together. It's like, okay, we got kill, we got die, we've got what else we got? We got never, we have no. What else we got? And then they just rearrange the things.
Yeah. Majesty, Secret Service. No.
Never kill tomorrow again.
It was a pompous sentence.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, and probably the same as Joe and Krellbar, we were young when the 60s ones were always on TV, like Dr. No and Goldfinger. And, as a kid, it's like, oh, this is an adult show. When you get to be an adult, you watch it, you're like, yeah, this sucks. I'd rather watch
Live and Let Die is still good. Yeah. Man with the golden gun, Scaramanga.
Yeah, Gold is always in there, too.
Oh, Dalton's the best Hugh.
You go from them younger years hoping to see a flash of tits, and now 2 girls are stuck in the fucking oven.
Right.
What happened to the world?
I'll tell you, that's what's happened. You just nailed it on the head. I remember in 1977 going to go see The Spy Who Loved Me.
Yep.
Barbara Bach was the Bond girl for the movie.
Take it easy with Barbara Bach. Yeah, she's hot.
Everybody wanted to see Barbara Bach, Ringo Starr's future bride. Everybody. And then again, when she was in the movie Up the Academy in 1980 with Ralph Macchio, fantastic film.
Caveman. Zug zug.
Caveman with... But everybody was dying to get a glimpse. Now, something like that comes on Netflix. It's like, yeah, or I got two girls stuck in a dryer on Pornhub.
Yeah, exactly. All those Bond movies, not one of the Bond girls got stuck in anything.
But kids today, they don't even, it's not even the same world we live in. When we were kids, we were lucky if we could sneak a peek at the side of a blouse. Today, it's like, or I could take a look and see what her asshole looks like. Oh, okay, good. Joke is the graphic part, Joe. You know that. But anyways, that's the whole thing. It's like, oh, let me see your starfish. Thank you. Okay, very good.
It's a brave new world.
Right. But that's what it's come to. That's why kids don't care anymore. And that's why it's hard to sit there and say, well, these movies, back in those
days. It's a new world, but it ain't brave. It's a depraved new world.
Back in the day, they used to, now I'll even just say this, and I love, I don't know if it's Amazon or Netflix, but there's these action-y movies that are always on. One's called Jolt. I don't know what is it Amazon Prime?
I don't know.
And there's like a million of them, and they're all
yeah. Amazon's got Jolt. Yeah, you're right.
They're all an hour and a half. And once you watch Jolt, which is an hour and a half long, 90 minutes, you can bang it out in your sleep. It just starts to suggest all these others, and they send you these 90-minute action films that there's no build. The buildup is 3 minutes, and you're right in the middle of it all. Kind of like the movie Taken, although Taken has a little bit slower of a start. Yeah. But back in the day, they used to develop a movie. You're halfway watching a movie, and it's like, when the hell is this thing going to pick up? They used to let in the 70s those movies breathe. Today, nobody wants to deal with it. It's like, and I'm one of them. I don't want to sit there and watch a 2.5 hour movie when I can bang it out in an hour and a half.
I watched 2 movies this week. I want to put my head through a fucking wall. One was Marvel's Eternals. Don't go near it. 2 hours and 40 fucking minutes.
Woke bullshit.
Dreadful. And even the special effects were shit. And last night I watched that new Ghostbusters movie.
I saw that.
Why? Who needed this?
It's basically the same exact story, only with the kids. It's like
it is. And
it's
why?
The same exact story.
Terrible. But I will say this: I'm not saying I'm some movies obviously back in the day were way better than movies today. Obviously, movies like The Godfather is great, Goodfellas is great. But even coming of age movies, I think Superbad was out of the park.
I like
fantastic.
That one.
That was funny. It was fun.
It's fantastic.
Hit me sideways. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was.
Never laughed so hard at a movie when I was in the theater as when I saw Superbad.
Funniest part it was when McLovin's riding along 2 cops, and he gets involved with that thing in action at the restaurant. Criminals try and get away, and he kind of pulls a homer and he takes down the criminal. And Seth Rogen's like, friggin' McLovin in the house.
Yeah. The movie's ridiculous, but it was so entertaining and funny.
Yeah.
And funny. I mean, if you watch like Fast Times is good. A lot of nostalgia to it. It might have a couple of little slow parts to it. Yeah. I don't need to see Mark Ratner and what the hell's no. What's Jennifer Jason Stacy talking about the teacher with the same clothes? I mean, to me, it's like, all right, move this scene along, will you?
Yeah.
Valley Girl's very good. Up the Academy, guys, is a movie everyone should.
I got to rewatch. I saw that 30 years ago on preview.
I was more Better Off Dead speed. That was my kind of.
I gotta get on Stalin from Better Off Dead on the show. How about that, Joe? Would you like that?
Who?
Stalin. Is he your number one wiener man? The guy who's his antagonist, the bad guy.
Oh my goodness! Really, you know him?
Oh yeah. I'll reach out to him.
I want you to get
his name's Aaron, but he goes by Rock.
Yeah. I want you to get Curtis Armstrong from that.
Yeah, I don't know Curtis.
Yeah. That'd be good.
Maybe he knows.
I mean, he's doing Domino's commercials these days.
Who?
Curtis Armstrong.
At this point,
Chris Armstrong
we
works
got-
full time on 100 different shows. The guy's on
Right
American
now?
Dad. Yeah. He's
Oh, I
the
didn't
voice
know.
on American Dad. He's the best friend of the kid. He's on. Let's look up Curtis Armstrong. I guarantee he's working more now than anybody.
We're not
He's in
boring.
everything.
You,
Oh,
Alex,
he was also on what's that show that I like? Supernatural. He was on Supernatural. All right. Blind Psychosis, Harriet the Spy, American Dad, he's Snot.
Holy crap,
Monsters
he's
at
older
Work.
than I thought. He's like 68 years old.
Been around for 100 years.
Yeah, well, that means he was like almost 30 when he was in Risky Business.
Yeah, same with Revenge of the Nerds. Better Off Dead, too.
Back then, all those kids that were in high school they always looked like they were fucking 30 anyway.
Guy was 40 years old playing a 16-year-old.
That's what they did.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the sad part was he looked like he was 40 playing 16. You know who always looked young was Ralph Macchio.
Oh yeah,
He still
Because
looks
how old was
Yeah,
how old was Macchio when he did Karate Kid?
52.
he was 24, I think.
older
21.
than
He just turned 50.
It's 106. He fought Joe
106.
Louis.
I think he was 21. I'm not sure.
He was born in 62, right?
62 was that?
So he's 50.
His next big film is going to be a biopic.
No,
Oh.
if he's born in 62, he's 60.
He's 60.
I can't.
60 he's born November of 61.
Okay, November 61. I knew he was right around
60
62.
years. Yeah.
All right, so how old was he when Karate Kid came out? Was that 84 or
Was it-
83?
84. So 61, 71, yeah, so he was 23.
Right, he's playing a 16-year-old kid or a 15-year-old kid.
And he looked it.
Yeah.
Still looks great.
Well, Ralph Macchio was on some TV program. He was in all teen magazines before that.
Who?
Ralph Macchio. I think he was on what show was he on?
How come
Family?
you can't pronounce one person's name the
I
same
don't
way
know.
twice? It's not even that you pronounce it wrong, it's you pronounce it not the same way twice.
You know, Liz, I don't care.
It's Ralph.
I just see a
Macchio.
name and I pronounce it how I
It's
feel,
Ralph
because
Macchio.
I never know what
That's
the
his name at
pronunciation was.
Starbucks.
Macchio.
Yeah.
He was also in
Go
Up the
back and go.
Academy in 1980, but he was also in what's the movie in 92 that we like? My Cousin Vinny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So in 92, what's he, 30 years old for that movie?
Yep.
Hugh, I haven't seen Night Patrol.
Night Patrol is a movie with the unknown comic, Murray Langston. Absolutely ridiculous, but brilliant. Yeah, Better Off Dead's a great movie. I'm just saying there's been some coming of age movies and recently that I think were good. Like Superbad was a great movie. I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but I've been enjoying them. Not Another Teen movie I thought was funny.
Yeah, I never saw
Yeah,
that.
he was on
I think
Eight
it
Is
was more
Enough. That
Alex's
was
generation of teen coming of age. How old were you when Superbad? What year was Superbad out? Let's put it that way.
2007.
2007.
So what? 13 years ago.
Yeah. So I
Oh,
was.
okay.
Yeah. So I was what 21.
Yeah. Closer.
That's 39.
Yeah. That was. I think also for coming of age, I always think of Boyhood, the one they did with that kid as he grew up till he was 18 or so, and they filmed every year.
Oh,
Yeah,
who was in that?
It came out. It came out a few years back, where essentially they
Yeah.
filmed this kid when I think he was 5, all the way through when he was like 18 or something like that. So it's like kind of like that is the end all for like a coming of age movie because it literally went with the kid as he was growing up.
Role Models is great
That's
for a
one of-
recent.
That's
Oh,
one-
yeah.
yeah, that's one of my favorite.
It's not coming of age, but
No,
it's,
it's still got Christopher Mintz-Plasse in it for his style of coming of age.
Yeah.
But that's a great
Yeah.
movie. That's one of
And
the best. comedies.
just one of the guys, Hugh Caldwell's mentioning. Just one of the guys with Joyce Heiser.
I don't know.
So the funny thing is I'm watching. We were watching Role Models in my apartment in L.A. and me and a buddy of mine, and we're watching it. And he's like, when they were walking by the little water thing where they have the bridge.
Yep.
And my buddy's like, "Oh my god, this is filmed in my old apartment." It was his old apartment that they had used. It's like from a house that's on the water there, right in Venice. It was pretty cool. Yeah, Linda Blair's in Night Patrol as well.
John Taylor, Clockwork Orange is a coming of age movie.
What kind of?
Out carousing with the boys,
ultra-violence.
are you again, Alex? Yes.
The old
Right.
Plus.
I've got a pain in me, Gulliver.
A pain in me, Gulliver, yeah. But yeah, I think just one of the guys is fantastic. And I'm Cyndi Lauper.
Would you guys call Stand By Me a coming of age movie?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I would. I would.
Yeah, it's just not.
It's darker than most things too, right? With the subject matter, right?
Yeah,
It was
different
kind of
Was that King?
I think
Yeah,
that they
Stephen
was
King.
leaning
Yeah.
towards like the 80s sex comedies where, part of it was like, going to high
Yeah.
school, getting laid and
Right, that's what I call the coming of age. I mean, I guess.
but yeah, Stand By Me definitely is a coming of age in its own right.
It's essentially a cast fronted by a cast of younger kids, and their
Yep.
trials and
Was
tribulations.
Corey Feldman in that movie?
Yep. Corey
Yeah.
Feldman, Will Wheaton,
Mhm.
River Phoenix,
Great
Jerry
movie.
McConnell. Who else?
Have you guys ever seen Corey Feldman perform with his music?
Not with his music, no.
Only once.
Where he dresses like Michael Jackson and has like girl backup singers and whatnot?
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
The first thing I saw Corey Feldman in was the Bad News Bears TV show. It was on with Jack Warden. Huh?
Was he Tanner
No.
on the TV show?
I think Anna was the only original that they had. I
Oh,
think
really?
They had the same kid. Let me look that up. I may be wrong.
Now, on the original Bad News Bears, wasn't Vic Morrow one of the?
Yeah, you're Roy Turner.
Understand what the hell I'm talking about, do you?
I love Vic Morrow.
Yeah, that's Stacy's father,
He was
Jennifer
great.
Jason Leigh.
That is exactly right.
Let's see.
He delivered those lines with a straight face, though. Give him credit.
Who's that? Oh my God, that scene in Twilight Zone. It's the best scene ever. Vic Morrow was awesome.
Yeah, he was great. That was heartbreaking what happened with that fucking movie.
Yeah. Absolutely great. And
No, actually, I made a mistake. Mino Pellucci was Tanner Boyle. That's the kid in the Last in Line video.
hold on a sec. I just got a reaction from Esther Roll when she found out that she wasn't getting any price breaks on Coppersound pedals. Hold on.
Here we are.
Damn!
By the way, folks, Esther Roll, let me just say this, guys. The 10th child of 18 in her family.
Fuck.
Are you kidding me?
A lot of
Right
fucking.
out.
Yeah. Crowbar. She walked out. He came dancing out.
Dazed and Confused is a good coming of age movie.
That is a great fucking movie, Elbow.
Yeah. I like the
He's so
soundtrack to
rich.
that movie a lot. Anything that has Hetty's Never Been Any Reason. Interesting.
Has a lot of.
I also think
Matthew
like something
McConaughey.
like Friday the 13th Part 2, but the aging stopped.
Yeah, you come of age to a certain point. Then
Yeah,
you
it was a
get
forced
re-
stoppage for aging.
What would you rather watch? Betsy Palmer in Friday the 13th or Betsy Palmer in I've Got a Secret, the original TV show?
I don't even know what I Got a Secret is, so I'm gonna.
I know the show, but
You're kidding
I
me.
can't remember her on it.
Talking about.
I've Got a Secret was Gary Moore was the host.
Yeah.
You had Betsy Palmer was the panelist.
Gary Moore, the guitar player, hosted a show.
Yeah, Gary Moore. Gary Moore he was the. Oh, let me see if I can find something for you. Hold on. I can't believe you don't know this show. It's from like the 50s and 60s.
I know the show. It's like
I'm dying over
I
here.
never was able to really watch it growing up. I mean, not even in syndication.
Yeah, it was always. It used to be on. Here we go. I'm putting this in the chat. Guys, this is an episode. It's a little scene.
They had Groucho Marx, You Bet Your Life, on 56 for a while.
Never seen.
This guy, I think he died from emphysema. You never see him without a cigarette. Oh, look at Betsy Palmer. She's young here. This is well before she started killing people at camp.
No, she looks a lot better.
Great movie.
Well, I still remember.
Oh, yeah, Losing It's a great one, John Zubel. Losing It's fantastic. Knock, knock. Who's there? Tijuana. Tijuana who? Tijuana, bring your mother to the gangbang.
Oh, John Valby.
I don't know.
Yeah, you see, he was in the movie Losing It. Porky's, another good one.
Yeah,
John Valby was in Losing It?
The guy that does that bit. Yeah, they went to that bar down there and he's singing.
Oh, God, that was...
I love the movie. It was called Can't Buy Me Love.
Great movie.
I love
Patrick Dempsey.
Dempsey. I fucking loved that movie.
Yeah.
Did anyone mention American Virgin yet?
Last American Virgin was great. It turns out the only straight kid of those three kids was the fat kid.
Yeah,
the Big Apple.
Oh, Rubo.
The Big Apple.
Yeah. The kid crying at the end. He was gay too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Gary. Yeah. Yeah, and the other one was he directed a movie there.
Yeah, I keep forgetting his
Moulin
name.
Rouge, was it? Or Burlesque?
Yeah,
Burlesque.
he dated,
Steve Danton. Rick Danton.
Yeah.
Steve Danton. Something Danton.
Steve Anton.
That's it. Steve Anton. That's it. That's right. The great Danton is from the movie The Prestige. Anyways, guys, let's start wrapping some of this up. We got
3.5 hours.
We got the albums for us to discuss for next week.
You want me to send you that email, Dave?
Yeah, just shoot it, and I'll shoot it out to Hugh and Joe. And then I want to thank Alex. Let's thank Alex, everybody.
Thank you very much, Alex,
for coming on. Coppersound pedals. I want everybody in the chat should own a Coppersound pedal by next week. You should get out there, support, and check it out. Almost Famous was okay. I didn't love it. Joe, the coffee, success, thumbs up. Yes.
2 thumbs up.
It's really good coffee, right?
Oh, fuck yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't really like coffee. And I was like, when I went into this place, I was like, I got to have a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I'm going to do what you said. Because I was looking, I'm like, man, I got to get a bunch of the little small bags. But
no. They'll sell you the soup. They'll sell you the ones that they sell the.
Yeah.
Do you have a grinder?
No.
I mean, the grinder app on your phone?
No.
Well, the grinder sandwich in your fridge.
No. All right. So so you tell me you want a ground. Yeah, they'll sell you a big one ground.
All right, I'm gonna do that.
And you want the morning blend. That's what you got.
I'll send them. I'll shoot them an email.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll fucking answer. If not,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I looked at the brand. I've seen those in stores around here, the Down East.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. I haven't tried any of the other coffees, but I always prefer a light roast coffee because I want the most caffeine I can get out of it.
Yeah. If you're gonna go big.
Yeah. So I go light roast. Although they have a medium roast.
They have it in decaf. I never understood why.
Yeah, I saw they had it.
It's like non-alcoholic beer.
Well,
yeah,
you got to understand, Joe. There are some of us that don't work well with caffeine anymore, but we still miss coffee. So It's the search for the best decaf.
Maybe that's what it is. All right.
I get mine from San Francisco Bay Coffee, a good place.
San Francisco treat.
Get
Rice-A-Roni.
2 pounds. 2
Wait, he
pounds.
wasn't even meeting with the Rice-A-Roni people. No, that was the joke. He didn't even see Mary. He was busy making the meeting with the Rice-A-Roni people. Something about Mary.
Who says that in there?
Ted, when he's talking about that, when he finds out Mary's a fox.
Yeah.
Mary's a fox. He didn't even go see Mary. He was busy making a deal for himself with the Rice-A-Roni people. Now I want a buffering. Can I do my Gene Simmons? This is Gene Simmons of Kiss. Anyways, so next week we're going to discuss that. Next week we have Howie Simon on guitar, virtuoso extraordinaire. I think he's going back on the road with Stryper and somebody else. He's doing I can't remember who, but he'll tell us all about it.
Once again,
And I have a meeting with Rice-A-Roni. Aren't they the San Francisco treat? Yeah, they're trying to change their image. It's the dumbest thing ever. Something About Mary is one of the greatest comedies of all time.
Farrelly Brothers, yeah.
Haley, you look pisser. Christ. Oh, very good. You putting the post there. Alex, anything else you want to say before we call it a day?
Not pedal related. There was something I remembered, and I kept forgetting to say. The time wasn't, it didn't fit. But I think I was catching one of you guys' shows recently, and maybe even tonight. The preamble you were talking about Town Spa, right? Right. I don't know if it used to be on like their menu or the story or whatever about the Town Spa, like that actual one, like on the corner of 138 and Plain Street. But a buddy of mine's a huge Town Spa fan. He lives in the house that used to be on the corner that they moved to make the Town Spa be there.
Oh, really?
So he's that house from the story. And his mother actually worked there for a while.
They have to buy. They bought it and moved it for them, right? Because then in '86, I think they built it there, so they would have done that like in '85.
Yeah, so they moved the house down the street on Plain Street, right past Andy's on that little corner.
I know exactly where.
That's my
place
buddy lives on that house.
There's no place else on that road in '86 they could have built it.
Yeah,
they had to move a house.
They moved the house.
I'm looking at the area, and I mean, there's that graveyard there. But I mean, like the area there is pretty sparse. I mean, I'm guessing a lot of stuff there now wasn't there in '86.
Yeah, it's just.
Oh no, it looks the same. I don't think that place was ever aged. I mean, they put a huge parking lot there though. That they had to cut down, I think, those trees and whatnot for the parking lot. But it used to be on Porter Street, and everyone will tell you, "Oh, the spa was so much better when it was on." Bullshit.
The recipe doesn't change when you change location.
I know, but people, people are. It's like oh, really? The tone is better on.
The way I remember it was better.
Well, that's what it's the same thing as like people, who's that busty girl everybody loves that plays guitar on those shorts? Mimi Sounds. Everyone talks about her in my chats. Mimi Sounds. She bought a vintage Strat. And she's like it was a 1970 or 71. And she's like all excited. I have a vintage one. Who gives a shit? Whatever you're going to play is going to sound the same. It's not, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, you finally got a real one. You got a real one. I'm saying that's just how these people are, these vintage idiots. It's like,
Dave, you did the chord wrong.
As little as
A over E plus.
Right.
It's D over G minus.
20 years ago, I mean, like, I remember the whole thing was the only vintage Stratocasters was the pre-CBS. I mean, in 1995, I could have bought a 72 Telecaster for fucking $300.
You should have.
And I ended up getting a Gibson ES, the student guitar. I thought it would appreciate more, but mistake I made. The post-CBS stuff.
It's a good lesson, but that's not how we played it on the album.
Yeah, right. Oh yeah, I love that too. That's another great one.
You're still gonna sound like you.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, well, I mean, it's so. Plus, she's. I mean, not to knock her. Not to knock her.
Knockers.
Right. Not to knock her. I mean, she's a cute girl from England who's like 19, and everyone makes comments on her rack. And that's the only reason why they're watching it. She's not really a player. I mean, will she be a player someday? Probably. If she keeps at it. And I wish her the best of luck, and in no way am I trying to disparage her. I think she should keep trying to do. But to sit there and play along with this, I've got a vintage guitar now. Oh, you do? Oh, now you're going to play just like Stevie Ray Vaughan. Put me to sleep.
Well, she went to put a guitar case under the bed. And she got stuck in one of her videos.
She got stuck in a case.
That's worth watching.
Yeah.
2 girls, 1 case.
What's that?
2 girls, 1 case.
Two girls, 1 cup.
Oh, the case, the guitar.
Do you remember that video, John?
I've never watched. I know enough.
I have my theories on some of that, but I'm not going to get
I do too. I'm right with you. It's fake. Well, not fake, but it's
Well, let me just put it this way.
Tonight. Let's just say goodbye.
2 words: douche and soft serve ice cream.
You're not far
That's
off.
all I'm going to say.
You're not far off, but I would definitely not call myself soft serve ice cream. I don't think you should call Joe that. No, I'm kidding.
All right, everybody, wrap it up. My fucking
Wrap
balls are dead. My ass is numb.
Oh yeah, and he's all coffeeed out now. He's going to go watch Paranormal Bullshit. By the way, I watched Paranormal Activity the other night. The movie.
Yeah.
I watched it the other night, and then which is just the couple where they're filming it.
Yeah,
the movie's so annoying. I couldn't even tell you. I wanted to kill the 2 of them. I'm like, if this creature doesn't kill the 2 of them, I will. And then when that ended, the second one started.
Oh fuck!
And once
Which ending did you see?
I saw
there's 2 different endings to Paranormal.
Oh, where the kid disappeared.
Oh, kid. Yeah. Well, well, I mean, there's one ending where like she gets possessed and she kills the husband, but she still lives. Yeah. And lunges at the camera. And there's another one where she picks up a piece of glass or something and cuts her own throat.
Oh, no. I saw the one where she lived. Yeah. Well, now, if anyone wanted to watch that movie, they know both endings for destroyed.
Yeah, it's not worth watching that whole series. I've watched like the first 3.
Ending. Everybody knew the butler did it.
So what are you watching? What are you watching for Paranormal? What when you say are you watching tapes of it, or do you watch a channel? What are you watching?
I got Discovery Plus, so I watch different shows on there. Or you just put on Discovery Channel. It's basically starting at about 4 or 5 o'clock every fucking day. It's nothing but paranormal shows.
Anyone watch Black Mirror at all on Netflix?
I've seen it. Yeah,
that's a very good series. Charlie Brooker, he's a friggin' genius. But did you see the movie they made, Bandersnatch? It's an interactive one where you can control what the character does with your controller. It's like you're given choices.
And they do that in porn now. Life Selector. Is she going to blow the butler, or does the butler get?
Is she going to get stuck?
He's a butler, isn't it?
Let me get some grease and get you unstuck.
All right.
All righty. Listen, Alex, you've been awesome. You're welcome on the show anytime. Anytime you want to promote something, please just give me a heads up and we'll have you come on. Great guest. Wish you a lot of success and many more years of it. I want to thank Joe for being here and enjoying the coffee that I sent him.
Thank you.
I'm glad you liked it. And Krelba, thank you.
As always, I'll probably see you next week.
For giving me enough information in my brain tonight to put me to sleep when I try to remember it.
Too much info.
Too much info. All right, everybody. Listen, we're going to call it a night. Anyone last words?
Yeah, if any of my followers are here, there's not going to be a video tonight. I promised one, but I'm fucking tired.
If there's any of my followers here, I'd be very surprised. I've somehow got over 100 subscribers, and I've got one shitty video I put up in 2000.
I'm still holding strong at 110 subscribers. So
I think I'm at
People get the
117.
fuck out there and subscribe to Joe. What the hell is wrong with you guys? This guy.
Everyone there is. They're fine.
He's laying out his soul online.
So listen, just one last little plug for Joe. Joe has a sobriety vlog. He's had a problem with alcohol and food. He's now recovering. He does a vlog that's very funny where you can hear him piss and moan all night about his day. That's all it basically is.
Yeah.
It's he's the male mod.
Yes.
He's like B. Arthur saying, God's going to get you for that, Walter.
And I'm training to walk 100 miles in 20 years.
I just noticed it's freaking snowing out. And the plows are going by with like half an inch of snow on the ground.
All right.
You're like, do you have dementia?
He really does.
Fucking come out of nowhere with some weird shit.
No,
All
no.
right, listen, everybody.
You
We
didn't hear
want
that in the background?
No, we don't hear it. We don't hear anything. All right, Alex. Thanks again.
Thank you.
And
yes, Alex.
anytime. And let's see what the
Anytime.
hell's
You
my
stuck
outro.
with us the whole time. You put up with a whole bunch of bullshit.
Mhm.
You know.
You did good.
Yeah.
I almost tried to get stuck in a dryer to get out of this.
Exactly. It happens. It happens on Joe's shift. All right, everyone. Listen, thanks so much, everybody. We'll see everybody next week. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I have a lesson that's going to be posted on my channel. I hope you dig it. And if you don't, you'll still dig it. All right. Very good, everyone.
Okay, goodbye, Ted.
Goodbye.